Hello and welcome, Midnight Coders, to another great episode of the Midnight Cafe or the Dev Café. This is totally live. Oh my god. All right, so step inside the igloo. The coffee is on. Pour yourself a cup and have a seat. In tonight's episode, Hayden and I are going to be joined with our guest, Prof, who will be taking us on a journey through the C++ world. A couple of seasoned Java veterans are going to be taking their swing at C++ for the first time. So, Prof, welcome to the show. Can you tell us a little bit about what it is that we are diving into tonight?
Well, we're gonna be diving into one of the highest performance, most mature, and oldest object-oriented programming languages in the world. One which is famous for footguns, one which is famous for many controversies, and one which is famous for many sleepless nights over over many sorts of bugs. But yeah, it's beautiful, it's wonderful. It
Always
may
thought
very well have a
I
place
always
in.
thought it was I always thought it was certainly a pure pain.
Yeah, well,
C
there's
plus
others who have tried
CPP.
C++, and the thing
Yeah.
is, the pure pain have never tried C without the plus plus. Um,
Mine was a
Right
but
off the
joke.
bat.
Mine was a joke.
Right, right
CPP
off
C
the
plus
bat.
plus.
So I'm looking at this boilerplate that was generated for me from Sea Lion, right?
yeah,
And I would like to try to guess what is going on just with this Hello World application because it looks syntactically, at least from this, very similar to Java. There's a couple differences, and I think I know what they're doing. But I would like to get your input. So I'm going to tell you what I think it's doing, and then I want you to tell me if I'm correct or not. You,
okay,
you
but
can see my screen, right,
forward,
Prof?
yeah, but forward,
You've
this
hold
is
on.
outdated, so that's no longer, let's say, up to date C++. But sure, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
What?
So, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm completely lost. I'm looking at my blank thing here. It's on Visual Studios. I thought we were starting out with making a whole new project. I
No, we are going to. This is an empty project. This is just Hello World boilerplate. But I just seen this that was generated, and before we get into the
Mhm.
project, I do want to try to see what we're getting ourselves into.
Yeah,
all right.
So
Well,
maybe
using
before.
hold on. Let me find you. Let me get. I am so not prepared for this. Like I again, I
that is a
you
okay.
you kind of stole the show, dude. Let's go with it. Let's roll with it. What are you looking at?
Yeah, like while Glabai finds his shit
No, I
together,
had
maybe
my
I
shit
can.
ready. I was waiting. I was waiting for you to tell me what to do with starting a new project. But let's. He stole the show. Let's go.
Yeah, so let me just say one thing. So, for the Java viewers in particular, so unlike Java, C++ is a compiled language which compiles to platform native executables. Meaning the code we write today will be specific to Windows because we're going to be using platform native functionalities of the Windows operating system. And when you write a file, so like the file you're looking at, the main.cpp file with the hello world boilerplate, that file gets translated by the compiler to a runnable executable, which so the IDE here you're looking at will obviously run it for you, but if you like look up the path in File Explorer and double click it, it will run just fine too.
Was 1 second there. Sorry, uh, Bookie, or we have a viewer there. He asked us what resources they all using, as well as sorry for the audio. I did have him low. I just boosted him up. I do apologize. As well, for our prof, he asks a question: what book can you recommend for following along? Is
Yeah,
there
can you
any?
hear me now better?
He should hopefully he'll be able to hear you better. I had audio turned down from when I was streaming music streaming this morning.
Yeah, so let me wait for an answer on whether people can actually hear me. Uh,
Yeah, you are coming in louder.
okay. Well, as far as resources go for learning C++, this is basically the holy grail, in my opinion, the learncpp.com. Awesome. So you just said that
Yeah.
he can hear me. Is learncpp.com. Like, it does have a lot of lectures, as you can see here, but it is the most complete, the most correct, which is shockingly important, and the most comprehensive tutorial out there which really does hold your hands through all of the details of the C++ programming language. And once you get more experience at C++, there is CPP reference, which is basically the reference to all things related to how the language actually works. And as you can imagine, it's one of the largest, most feature-rich languages in the world. And finally, today, since we're writing a Windows native application, we will also be using MS-DOC from Microsoft for C++.
And is that just a C library, like an interface for interacting with the Windows API?
Yeah, so you have the Windows API with the C++ SDK on Windows by default, so no need to install anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's, well, there's something I have to explain here. So you obviously have the OS, right?
Right.
Running all of your stuff. The OS itself is a collection of executables. And executables have the ability to call each other, so functions from each other back and forth. So on Linux, that's why we call them executable and linkable files, because binaries can be linked against each other and can call binary code from each other. On Windows, that's .exe. And
what
sorry?
is the cmake lists.txt? What is that a useful file in C++, or is that just
So
is
it
that
is
something that his IDE made?
That's something his IDE made and which we
Okay.
will not use because
was
we can
just
build
curious.
C++ in very many ways. So
So
before I
this
get
th-
to what that is,
so this app that we see right here in front of us, is this a long way to print out "Hello World" 5 times?
yes, it is. It is a long way to, well, it's a long way to print out hello world and then I equals 1 through to 5.
Okay.
So
now,
the CMake list, so let me just quickly mention to it. So for Java devs, it's something like a pom.xml with a C++ build system known as CMake. We don't need it. We will not be using it.
What
It's
is
C...
what is the bit shift that's going on?
This is
It's
not
again,
bit shifting.
it is not bit shifting.
Okay.
It is
Sorry,
one
I'm
of
coming
the
from Java.
Yeah.
I'm coming purely
So
from Java.
before you say what it is, may I please try to guess
Yeah.
what is going on?
Sure.
Okay, so these include statements. These are akin to import statements in Java, right? I'm just saying, hey, I want to use functions from this class or this package, whatever.
Mhm.
Okay. Then
So
in main,
one word I will append to your includes. So unlike Java and other languages, the includes in C++ are unbelievably stupid. They just copy paste a file into the top of your file and do absolutely
C?
nothing else.
Really?
And in C++.
So
This is a copy paste.
if I have a application, I have two different classes, and they
Yeah.
both include the same dependency, will it then copy it multiple times to each of those classes?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, is that
It
redundant?
is
So does the
And
compiler do anything to kind of reduce the amount of storage you're using then?
Well, you can do a lot to reduce the amount of storage you're using.
Ah,
First of all, you're not using storage because this is going to be unwrapped by the compiler during compilation. But yes, it is a
okay, yeah,
legitimate concern that the compiler may need to unwrap the same thing a million times. So
okay,
this is why this comes back to what I said about linking executables. In the end, your executable may be made up of multiple objects, so binary blobs basically, which get linked by a linker. So after the compiler is done creating the binary, the linker can combine your objects into the final exe. And in C++, you're allowed to create your program in a way where you have more than one object. Again, we will not be needing this because our program is small. But if you have a very large program and you want to help compile times, you can break it up into multiple objects. Those can compile in parallel, and then the linker can take those objects and link them together. So you don't need to copy paste the entire source. You only need to copy paste sufficient information for the compiler to know where it can find the respective binary functions.
that makes a lot of sense. Okay,
So, like, for example, I can immediately give you an example here. If I have a function, let me just change this one little thing. If I have a function, it actually consists of two parts, and you are seeing that right there with the main function. There is a function signature which says it returns an integer, has the name main, takes no argument, and then the curly braces in the function body. So the function body is the actual implementation of the function, like the instructions which need to be run. For the compiler to emit the object, it doesn't need to know necessarily what's in the function. It just needs to know its signature. So, for example, if you take a look at my screen for a sec, I can declare a function and a get magic number and put a semicolon. So what this is telling the compiler is basically, trust me, bro.
Like the implementation will be there later.
Yeah, it will be in a different object. And the compiler itself will trust you, bro, and will compile. And then the linker will, at this point, be upset when it does not find this symbol somewhere else.
Okay.
So if you get a linker error, that means you have violated one of such promises. You promised the compiler, trust me, bro, and then you didn't actually deliver.
Right. That makes sense. Okay.
So if you take a look at the headers, maybe not IOStream because IOStream is full of templates, but if you look at headers, you can go through and look at the actual files. You will very often find a huge list of simply declarations, which are basically a bunch of promises. Yeah, a lot of trust me bros. And then there's a different implementation file which produces an object which later gets linked into your program.
Okay.
You can also do a lot of exciting things for like on a slight tangent. You can load these functions ahead of time, obviously, by having the linker link your executable. You can also load them during the runtime of your program. So you can tell Windows, hey, Windows, please go and find me the function in this executable I want to call it. And then Windows will report whether it's found the function or not. Like there's a lot of flexibility here, but as I said, we won't be using any of it.
So can you take a look back at my screen for a moment? Okay, so then the second thing I notice is the main entry point in the program, it returns int. And I know what it returns is the exit code of the application, and I'm assuming that 0 is like okay, everything completed successfully, everything shut down successfully.
Same thing as the same thing as a system exit 0 with Java.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly the same.
What status code would you return if things didn't go as planned?
It depends on your
I feel like
OS.
that's the same as Java. Correct me if I'm wrong. Where if you were stopping for any sort of unknown error or any kind of like predictable error, you would provide an error code in relation to that issue.
Okay.
Now, line 6. I know in C++ there's no such concept as string objects, right? You have like I'm assuming this is an array of characters, and the auto keyword is inferring the type, kind of like how var would in Java.
Yes. So you can actually ask CLion to deduce the type there. I think so. CLion has a code action which replaces the type with what it's deduced.
Yep.
So if you
split declaration from assignment?
No.
Yeah, here.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, sure.
So it's a constant character, and I know. Okay, so the asterisk. This is a pointer, or this is. So this is a pointer to this object, and then. Okay.
So the way you read C++ objects is you read them as you would use them. So lang is the variable. If the variable is dereferenced, the star, then you get a constant character. So that means that lang is a pointer to a constant character. So how do you understand that? The string you put in double quotes will be embedded into the executable file. So if you open the resulting executable in Notepad, you will literally be able to find somewhere C++. Okay. So that pointer contains the address of that string in the file and is valid throughout the entire lifetime of the program.
Another thing I noticed. So this isn't intuitive because when I read this, it's a character. It's not like an array of characters, at least not explicitly. It just says it's a character, but I'm able to set it to this string. How does that work?
So this is the address of the string, which is the address of the front of the string. So in C++, and in C as well, in very many languages, strings are terminated with a magical 0 character. Oh. So the way you know what the string is you hold the address to the first character. So actually, we can do a little bit of experimentation here. So I'm going to copy the same thing. I'm going to make a const character pointer lang equals C++ here.
I'm going to take a look at
and then I'm going to use I'm thinking, yeah, well, we're a little bit out of order, but that's fine. So then we
Now,
can
what?
just
Sorry to cut you off here. Why do you have it as Char with a star there and then Lang when his IDE had it like that? Is there any?
Well, in
What
the
is the
C
difference?
style arrays in Java, we can do that with arrays. You know how you can put it on the type or on the name,
yeah,
the two
Yeah,
square
yeah,
brackets. I
yeah,
think it would
yeah.
be the same thing.
yes.
Okay, so
So
you can apply
in
that. You can put
the
that you can put the asterisk on either. Okay.
no, no, the asterisk is very specific. So the asterisk means the things on the right points to the thing on the left. So it's right to left. So it means lang points to a constant character.
Okay.
And it is not
Okay.
the same if you put it here. So here's the syntax.
No.
So in
I
C++,
I was in referencing how you had it before. Char star space
Oh,
equals
that's
Lang.
equivalent.
Does that make any
That's
difference? Like,
equivalent. No. No,
okay,
you can put as much white space as you want.
I see.
So
okay.
in the C style is usually on the right. In the C++ style, it's usually on the left. It doesn't matter. Do what you want.
So
Like,
okay, so this is a
uh,
reference to the first character. So when you're reading this string, so
yeah.
do you have to say like read until the next byte equals 0 to read the
Quite
string?
literally, yes. So if you look into the implementation of all the print functions, they are literally a while loop, which goes while the current character is not the 0 character, print out the next character.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
And again, let me show you how you do printing in modern C++,
So the way
which is way more
the way
convenient.
the thing that you kept doing with the double left or double less than symbol, is that like concatenating the string together or like adding this like what is that like when you did the
Yeah, well, I mean,
STD?
again, I'm going to suggest a version of that which is much more beginner friendly here, because again, the CLion is giving a boilerplate which works with the older standard of C++17, but fortunately for us, at this point we have C++23 with much better standard library. So I'm
I
actually
am using C++26, by the way.
perfect, even better. For the Visual Studio users, I'm going to show now how to change to a C++23. Because I'm going to use the more modern printing methodology, which is way more convenient. Much like Java and Java 25 got io.println. So I'm going to go to right click on the project name here. I'm going to go to properties. Then I'm going to go here to C++ language standard. And I'm going to put it on the preview of C++23 features. Unfortunately, Microsoft didn't implement all of them. No biggie. They implemented the ones I want. And by applying that to all configurations, now I have C++ available to me, C++23 available to me. So instead of IOStream, I can include the print header, and then I can do, I can do std print ln, and just print something, like in any normal language.
Okay.
Let me just.
Okay.
So it almost it's akin to like it looks like a method reference in Java.
Mm-hmm. Like it
Yeah. So
looks there.
in C++, the double colon is the scope resolution operator, meaning namespaces are always separated with double colons. The dot is reserved exclusively for methods on objects.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Like the single
But
dot.
is
Okay.
println?
Yeah,
But println is a function, no?
it is a function.
Okay.
It's a
So
function which, as you see, it returns nothing. It's a void function. It takes a format string, and it takes just a format string, and the format string could be just any old string.
okay. Okay.
Okay.
So if
Okay.
I run this, let me just run this real quick, and there it is.
Awesome.
Hello world.
Now, a
Look at
couple
that.
more questions before we actually get into the code.
Yeah.
So, I know in C++ you're dealing with a whole wide variety of different types of primitive values. So I know
Yeah.
there's unsigned values and signed values, right? And
Yeah.
I know you can declare them with like uint or int. By default, this integer right here,
Mhm.
is it 64-bit, 32-bit, and is it also unsigned or signed?
So according to the standard, this could be either like any size. So the standard only requires, as far as I'm aware, that the short is shorter than the int, which is shorter than the long, which is shorter than
But
the
it would
long
depend on
long.
your CPU architecture or whatever compiler
Yeah.
you're using.
it depends on the compiler and the standard library. On Windows,
Okay.
the integer is 32 bits and it's signed. It is required to be signed though, so it supports negative values. Mind you, it does not support overflow. So
What
overflowing
happens if you overflow? So
is not
if
specified.
would I just get like some sort of fault, like segmentation fault, and just like crash, or
Yeah, so I should mention one of the biggest difficulties of C++ is so-called undefined behavior. So the compiler, in order to produce a maximally optimized executable, which is as fast as humanly possible, needs to trust you, bro, on a couple of things. So one of the things which the compiler is required to be able to trust you on is that your integers never overflow. So if that does happen, what the consequence of that is the standard does not specify, and different compilers will treat differently. Some of them will silently corrupt your data, which is the worst, or some of them will emit an error. So
okay.
usually debuggers will catch such errors by instrumenting your code with additional information and cause exceptions. But in maximally optimized mode, you are probably gonna get some weird, unpredictable data corruption. And there's multiple things which can cause this in the language. And the entire reason for this is for the compiler to be able to make some optimization. So for example, if I create an integer here, just like I would in Java, I say a number equals, I don't know, 42. So if I have another integer, other number equals number times 2 divided by 2. So obviously, we recognize that multiplying by 2 and then dividing by 2 does nothing. But if this multiplication overflows, this could suddenly turn into minus the number, and then we could be dividing minus the number by 2. So technically, this here could overflow and then would result in a different answer. So other systems languages will actually emit machine instructions which first multiply by 2 and then divide by 2. However, the C++ compiler, due to overflow being undefined behavior, is allowed to say, well, hang on, you're actually not doing anything, and to delete this. So at this point, if you were relying on overflow, you would be getting incorrect data.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
And then there's no standard. That's one thing I don't. That's a paradigm that is so hard to get your hand or head around. Is that it's not standardized. I'm so used to like Java's paradigm, write once, run everywhere. Where like no matter what virtual environment I run it on, it's going to run the exact same. And this depends on whatever CPU architecture you have, your compiler, and you gotta handle memory too. I know like allocating memory and freeing memory is a huge deal, and I don't know if it's so big in C++, but I know in C, that's a really big deal, and it stems a lot of vulnerabilities as well.
Right.
So that's scary. That's really scary.
Right, so if you remember this string here is a character array somewhere in your executable, and obviously if you index outside of the bounds of the array, you're accessing memory which doesn't technically belong to you. So anything from an exploit to a crash could possibly happen.
Yeah, that's really, especially when you're taking user input.
Yeah, so you need to manually enforce all the security checks which you want. Because again, the compiler, for example, will also trust you that whenever you index into an array, you're indexing at a valid index. It will not emit checks. So that makes it faster, but it makes it riskier.
Right.
So again, if you run this, just for the people who are worried here that their program is going to have undetectable bugs, the Windows Software Development Kit comes with a very powerful debugger and instrumentation tools. So when you actually compile your program in debug mode, which you can see here on the top in the configuration, there's a whole bunch of stuff added into the...
Kind of see it. It's a little blurry from my end for those watching through my eye.
But that's okay. That's okay. I have one last question that I'd like you to elaborate on. So before we jump into the code, I know you very briefly touched on this, but I didn't retain it. So these what in Java would be bit shift operators. What are these doing? So what I think they're doing is like they're like in Linux, how you use just a single left arrow or right arrow. It's like piping this data or like making this data move here. But like
I thought it was concatenating, sort of like.
Yeah, so let me explain that by giving you an example. So let's make a class ourselves
he's
which
got.
does that.
I was gonna say he has an example right there.
Well, I mean, sure, but I think reading the standard library is a bit difficult because it's full of annotations, full of compiler intrinsics, full of platform-specific instructions, which are very difficult to decipher for beginners. So that's why I'm going to make a very simple type here, which just contains a struct, and then let's say struct b, which I know contains another integer. So this is a very simple declaration of a type. You could imagine this like a record in Java. It is only approximating a record.
So these structs are immutable.
No, everything is mutable unless you say so by putting const in front of it.
Okay.
So I could make a
it's
const
not like
b.
a record. So it's not like a record. Oh, okay. I should do it that way. Okay.
But it
I guess
does
it's more
have
like a
value
Pojo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it does have value semantics.
Okay.
Okay.
We could like initialize it with b equals to, I know, 42. This is so-called, oops, what did I do? These are so-called designated initializers. They're optional. We don't need them. But
what does
nice.
what does the dot b do?
Nothing. It's just a reminder to you that we are assigning the member b the value 42. We can remove it. It's valid even without it. And if you really want, we could put a b here to be clear that we are constructing an object of type b. The default constructor, which just assigns the values to the field. So I notice I did not manually need to make a constructor which takes an int, val.
And so I'm assuming it preserves the order of the fields that are declared inside of the struct.
Yes.
Okay.
And the memory layout is exactly as you specify. So if I have like an int and then a double, it's first going to be the int. And then since the int is 32 bits, actually you're going to have another 32 bits of padding for alignment reasons. So we're wasting some space. Oops, what?
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
There is some waste of 32 bits.
Yeah, Java's the same way.
Right, so alignment is a thing here too. Okay. But again, the structs by default behave just like value classes. All of our objects in C++ are by value types. There's no reference types. It's always values. Right, and so we can make these things. So like, let's implement a custom operator for these two types. So let's say, for example, we want an operator which is void. It's going to be an operator bit shift. Doesn't matter, we could do any of them. It takes an A, and a B, and it does something. So let's say std print ln calling operator bit shift with, and then we can actually do formatting here. That's why I recommended a newer C++ version. And then in the curly braces, we can put the values. So a.a and b.b, semicolon. So now what this enables us to do, so let's make, and here actually, yeah, okay, that's fine. Let's make a constant a, my a equals a of minus 69. And then we can call, so it's right, so remember it's a and then b. So then we can do my a bit shift my b, semicolon. So what this does is, as the IDE highlights, it just calls this function. Operators in C++ are no more than functions. They're just a function declared somewhere. So if I run this, it says calling operator bit shift with 69 and then 42.
Nice. Okay.
So now I can finally get to answering your question. Oops. Let's include IO stream. Include, I made a typo. Let's see out hello world. And actually cout does not put a new line. So here you can just go to definition, and there is your function definition of
the print line function. Does that automatically append a new line character after what you supply? Okay.
Yes.
But cout is just whatever data you pass it. And and print will emit the new line. Okay.
Right.
Same as Java.
Okay.
Yeah.
So far, this has been quite intuitive. I still don't think I totally understand the double like less than operator. That it just I
It's
don't
just a
understand.
function which takes left and then which takes two arguments, the left argument and then the right argument. It's all in
But
there.
but now, why are you
wouldn't they do
able?
it like akin to Java?
Why are you able to? Why are you able to concatenate more of those on the end of that? Like, why would you be able to do
Yeah.
stid
That's a good
stid
point. That's a good
stid
point.
co double less than hello world space double less than 42? Like
So
why?
because we can, okay, so let me answer that by just using the single struct A. So let's say we define the operator here, which takes two A's, and then let's say we also make it return an A. Let's say return an
Oh, is
object
this like
A.
method chaining?
Just a sec, it's not even
Okay.
method chaining, it's very simple in the end. So let's say we return an A which contains A dot A plus B dot A. So just sums. So let's now create a bunch of A's. A1 is equal to, I don't know, 1. Let's say A2 has 2 in it. And, oops, I'm sorry. So mind you, there is no new keyword here. We are creating these objects as values on the stack. So no need for allocations here. And then I can do A1, the double triangle A2. So now this is a function call, remember? That function call returns another A, which I can plug into that function again.
So what you did here, you just did operator overloading. So you just
yeah.
Okay. Now if you didn't overload that operator, what would it do by default?
I can show you. Let's just comment this out. It would throw a compiler. No operator matches these operands. Operand types are A and A.
So does that operator function on any type natively, and it does something different? That is one thing that. Okay, so what does
it's a bit shift.
Okay. So whenever you see that in terms of anything else, it's because that class has overloaded that method and it does something silly with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So another thing that I really I love this and I hate this about C++ is the method overloading, because now you don't know what it's necessarily doing.
Yeah, well, that's why you have an IDE which tells you where the definition is, and that's why these are copy-pasted files, because you can just go and look in the files.
Okay. But by default, it's a bit shift.
Right, so if I have integers, it's a bit shift. So if I have int A and then equals 69, I can then do a bit shift by, I don't know, 5, and it's a bit shift.
Also, nice.
Nice. So every operator is overloadable, including the comma. So beware of the comma.
What? What? Okay.
What?
That is funny. I will not
show you how to do that.
That's wild. That's wild. How do you override a comma?
I'm not going to show you because you can break your coworker's code very easily.
I could imagine.
I don't want
to get too deep into this. I do not want to get too deep into this, but one of the criticisms that I heard about C++ is all the DSLs, and people said that any two code bases would be like a totally different programming language.
Yeah, well, there have been efforts in C++ to like add more to the standard library to mitigate the need for like inventing your own stuff and to like disencourage people from doing craziness. But Bjarne Stroustrup, the inventor of the language, was very adamant that his opinion is that you should not restrict the developer. Allow the developer what they want to do and have them pay the repercussions of their own mistakes.
Here's the thing. I'm such a devil's advocate. I agree with that. I love when we have the total freedom to do whatever we want. However, I think with total freedom comes chaos. I think a little bit of restrictions, it inspires creativity, and also it's standardized. So I think that's why Java is so popular as it is, because there's so many limitations. All the code is readable between code bases, even if the code is really bad. I can go from one code base to another and just line by line understand what it's doing with absolutely no tomfuckery going on whatsoever.
This is a very valid criticism of C++, And a reason why many people still prefer the basic C, even though C is very, very, very painful to manage by itself.
Oh,
It
I
does
can
not
imagine.
support any of the advanced features. So what you
Yeah.
see is what you get with C. Whereas with C++, as you have rightfully noticed, anything could be everything. So
Right.
there is caution which needs to be exercised, and that's why people oftentimes are rather hesitant to willy-nilly import dependencies, because a single bad dependency could blow up your entire code base.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Oh, why don't we get into some code? Why don't we get into some actual coding?
Right.
Yeah.
So
All
I
right.
had
Who am
a
I watching?
program prepared with the idea to implement a new feature into Windows. That's because, again, one of the greatest things about C++ is that it interfaces with C like very easily. Most C is actually written in a compatible way with C++, where it's also valid C++ at the same time. And the Windows API is no different. The Windows API, again, is a header file which exposes the signatures
Yeah,
of
it's a
all
lot
of
of
the
trust me
functions.
bros.
Exactly, a lot of trust me bros, and the bro you're trusting is Windows in this case.
Right.
So Microsoft. Um, though I don't think. Well, I mean, we can get into a few of the cursed comments in the Windows API. It's
Not
gonna be a
yet.
lot
Not
of
yet.
fun.
We're not ready for that. You already introduced operator overloading, and my brain just doesn't want to. I don't want to learn anymore. I don't want to do that.
I just want to dive in and kind
Yeah.
of toy with it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Let's go.
let me
Let's go.
just
Let's go. Let's go.
Show us
Go,
the
let's
let me
go.
Windows
Let's
just.
go.
API, please.
So the Windows API I'm gonna show it to you is
All right.
include Windows.h, and that's it.
What is
And
.h?
now you
I
can
know
just
that's a header.
interface.
Yeah, and now you can interface with all of Windows, the
That's
entire OS.
crazy. Also, it's
Yeah.
not a header file; it's a trust me bro file.
Yeah, trust me, bro. Yeah, so here it
Yeah.
is. This is the file. You see
We-
here a lot of conditional compilation where it conditions on like what your CPU architecture is. And it's something
Damn.
Microsoft has to deal with because they support Windows on ARM, Windows on bizarre architectures, something we do not have to deal with.
That's
So
a
this file is
whole lot
small
of trust
because
me.
it's not actually here, but there's further includes, right? And then there's this and so
That's
on
a
and so forth.
lot. That's a
But
rabbit hole of trust me.
yeah, it's a rabbit hole. So for example, we're going to be using a lot of functions out of winuser.h, which is most of the user space functionality.
All right.
We
Well,
go all the way to the bottom here. We can see the winuser file is 16,000 lines of trust me.
Jesus
And
Cripers.
each one of those trust me's delegates to an entire implementation of a function. So those are
Exactly.
16,000 not lines of code. Those are 16,000 different functions.
Yeah. So let me just see if I can
That's
find you the.
that's a lot of trust.
I
Exactly.
mean, we put our full trust in Windows every
Damn.
single day. The
Unfortunately.
amount of people yeah, this is a tangent, but people trust big companies way too much.
Man,
Yeah. So
the only thing I trust right now is my coffee, and I got to refill, so I'll be back in 30
Mhm.
seconds. You guys can keep on going. I'll be
No
back in 30
worries.
seconds.
yeah, while Glabai is away, let me go on a very minor tangent, and actually let's take a look at Windows itself, since we mentioned Windows.h.
Sure, yeah.
So
yeah.
in your C drive, there's Windows, right? And then eventually you're gonna get to System32. And then there's a bunch of stuff here. In case you didn't know, the Windows kernel is also to be found here. It is under, let me scroll down.
Okay,
Lot
I
of
have a
M.
question.
Yeah?
Is there something akin to Java docs for C++? So if
Yes,
I
I
want to
just
delve
mentioned
into the
that.
Windows API,
Mm.
right,
Yeah.
I'd want to look at the documentation and try to figure out what does what. Oh, yeah, awesome. Awesome.
So you just ask Microsoft. Microsoft has their entire Learn Windows apps. We want.
I was going to say
So there's a
they should
bunch
be,
of documentation.
if I remember correctly, they're one of the more well-documented languages.
Yeah, so the reason we rely on documentation is, as you have just seen, every single library has the opportunity to do stuff differently. So,
Yeah.
and we will be seeing many peculiarities and bizarre choices made by Microsoft in the olden days in today's program.
Oh,
But
so do you still encounter a lot of legacy code
Well, this is all legacy code. Like all of Windows is legacy.
Yeah.
But the thing I was going to point out is your kernel is here.
What is the name?
Here it is.
What is the name of the binary? I can't see it because it's quite distorted.
NTOS kernel dot. What? Windows, please. There you go. It's NTOS kernel.exe. And if you
Okay.
double click it, it says this application cannot be run in Win32 mode because that's an application executed by the bootloader, not user space.
Not by a user, not in user space.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
That's
because
fine.
It's the kernel, Windows kernel. So you may be surprised to see that Windows shares the same executable format as the former DOS. So you can actually do the same thing with Windows executables, put them on a DOS device and double click them. But then you're going to get a pop-up which says this application cannot be run in DOS mode.
You have user Bob in the chat had just asked if we could throw a link to the website that you were just on into the chat so he could have it.
Yeah, let me do that right now. So this is the Microsoft's website. In case you're interested in C#, Microsoft also has a complete documentation on C#. And so that's for the Windows API, and I should just say the thing you need for C++ standard library, CPP reference. Here again, remember the standard library is very, very expansive. Has a lot of compatibility requirements. So reading it is actually very difficult.
That is such a flashbang. Oh my god.
It is.
Oh my god.
I like the simplicity of it though. It does look nice.
Yeah, so there's no java.lang.blah.dat. Almost everything is under the header.
Where's the link to that? Did you throw it in the YouTube chat?
Chat. I did.
Okay, I didn't see it in the chat.
So, I know you had
post it throw it in our Discord chat, and I'll throw it in the thing.
Working on it.
Thank you.
Ultimately, what we want to do is we were going to make this program that listens for a keybind and it switches between Windows tasks, right? Before we get into that, is it possible just to show us like a hello world using the Windows standard library? Like,
yes.
what can we do in like one line of code where we can interact with Windows and see something actually happen?
Right. So I'm going to demonstrate to you that by using the message box function from the Win API. It's the same Win user header we're going to be using later. And let's just show you how you read some documentation. So I have included Windows. Again, unfortunately, this will not work on Linux. Actually, probably it will because it will work under Wine. So people who are doing Linux can follow along.
Does Wine ship with the entire Windows API?
API. Yes, it does.
Is that what it does? And then it like so it translates system calls from whatever Linux system calls to whatever Windows system calls?
Exactly. So remember I said that this is a trust me, bro. So the compiler emits an instruction
so
call this function.
They inject the implementation into the trust me, bro.
Yes.
Okay, I got you. Okay, that makes sense. I like that.
That's what Wine does. It basically swaps out the bro of the trust me, bro. And the same executable is
sorry, that was awesome.
Yeah, and the same executable can still run on the same CPU. So here, let's call this a message box function. Now you may notice with the Windows API, there is always a capital A and a capital W and sometimes an X function. So Windows had a little problem back in ye olden times where obviously it was created in the United States of America and they used the ASCII standard character codes for all of their strings. And then it turns out that China wants to use Windows. Then they were like, oh no, we need more characters. And so they decided to use wide characters, which are characters which contain 2 bytes of information, not just one.
Yeah.
So they duplicated the entire Windows API. One half of it works with standard ASCII characters for United States, and the other half works with wide characters.
But it's the same. It's the same implementation. It's just different. Trust me, bros. Right?
Exactly. So
Okay.
one deals with wide characters, one deals with the other characters. This is a C API, so C is not able to do type inference, so they need to manually overload. Anyways, I'm going to use the message box function. So the first is an optional parameter, which since it's optional, I'm going to pass in null. The second parameter is the text parameter. So the way you read the Windows API, you read left to right. So it's a long pointer, meaning a 64-bit pointer to a constant terminated string.
Okay.
Okay. So we need a.
Can we break that down? Can we break
But
that down? So
does
what
that
is
just
a long pointer?
does that just mean that
So
it's
a
a
long
60?
pointer is
Does that mean it's a 64-bit string?
no. It means so long pointer is again a
Oh,
legacy
it's a
thing from back.
64-bit pointer.
Yes. So since we are
Oh,
on
okay.
64-bit architecture,
Right.
that's just a normal pointer.
Okay.
So
Okay.
constant string, meaning this string will not be changed by this function. Terminated, meaning a string needs to end with 0, which all strings in C++ do, and string. So this just means I need a const character style. Let me do a message box. Yeah.
Oh.
So we need a constant string. Let's name it hello from message box. Let me close this actually.
But would this essentially be the title of the message box that we're doing, the text,
This is the
title,
yes.
and then the body of the code and is the caption or like the description of the box?
Right. So so they want a wide character, as I said. So we need a wide character pointer. Let me just see. It says so we need a Windows API wide character. That's the same. And we specify that's why we're putting an L in front of L for long. And let's put a wide title. Again, this is simply all that this does is allow us to use Unicode characters. I could put like Chinese characters.
So this is
okay.
this
So it's
is
a
akin
16.
to in Java. In Java, you can set the string format from like UTF-8 to
exactly.
whatever ISO blah 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 that allows for wide characters.
Okay.
So exactly, but the Windows API only understands the ASCII encoding and the wide encoding. Again, it's low level, so you gotta take what you got. And the final parameter here is the type, and we can scroll down to being the type. So the contents and behavior of the dialog box. And I'm just gonna use the very simple OK dialog box. So I'm gonna put in here MBOK.
So we can run this. Where did that come from? Did that come from the header file?
Yes. Everything is coming from the header file. So it's just a magic number in this
but
case.
But you could also pass in hex 0.
Yeah,
hex 0 would also. Okay.
Yeah, but it's the same thing as magic numbers here at this point. That's just a constant that's named. So like we much rather we'd much rather the message box.
Java,
okay.
In Java, so we would reference that with the class name and then the variable name, or unless you used a static import where you imported all the static fields from a class. So it just looks magical to me because I don't know where that's necessarily coming from. Especially if we have like multiple trust me bros in this application, then we would have to go find which header file that came from.
Yes, and that's again one of the legacy things of C++. Again, this is written as a C API, so they didn't have many choices back in the 1900s in terms of how to do this.
The 1900s, that makes me feel so old. Don't say it like that.
God, don't word it like that.
Do not say the 1900s.
No. That makes me feel so old. I feel old as it is.
I don't think I like that.
I'm in my mid-30s already. Like, don't make me feel like I'm in my 40s.
But anyway, in the olden days,
the 19th century.
Hey, okay, wait. Let's skip right past this.
Back in the 20th century, we used to do.
By the way, we can actually improve this. So we have at this time like compile time constants in C++, which are called const expr, so constant expressions.
How is this different from auto? Oh wait, sorry, my bad. I think
auto's more of a var-like thing.
Auto is var, so it's the same.
Yeah. So what is constant? Does this mean this is final, like it's immutable?
It means it's a compile time constant.
So what's
already? So I can use this value before the program is actually run. So I can use it to inform the compiler of things. So this value will be embedded into the binary as the exact value. Much like the number, the literal 0 refers to 0, this symbol now also refers to 0. So I can actually use this.
Oh, so it literally replaces every instance of that reference to that object, not object, that field with 0 instead. Like, so it doesn't delegate to that field. It becomes that number.
Exactly. We can even have entire functions which run during compilation. So then the function is replaced with its result.
Oh, wow.
So but the nice thing about this, as opposed to macros, which you saw, which was the hashtag defined stuff, this is still type checked. So the compiler will make sure that the types match exactly what you claim they did. Right. So it's much safer because, first of all, there's overloading which can go on. There's type checking. There's much better language server support. And in modern C++, you basically always define magic numbers somewhere along these lines. So it doesn't matter. I'm just going to use the classic C-style Win API and be okay. And let's run it. I think it's F.
Oh, that was... Were you trying to do Vim keybinds right there?
Yeah, unfortunately, my...
Oh, I saw something pop up. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, here it is.
There it is. Okay,
nice.
I was going to say.
Awesome. That is
Look at
cool.
that.
That is really cool. And this makes total sense to me.
Yeah, so for the Linux people out there, here's a challenge to every Linux simp in the world. Do this in 3 lines of code on Linux. Good luck.
Why is it any different? Oh, is it because of the Windows H library, like the message box?
Yes.
Do they not have something similar in Linux?
Nope. So the entire point of what you may have heard of desktop environments on Linux are to fill in the gaps, because Linux is just a kernel which deals with the low level
so you have to do it per flavor of Linux.
Yes.
No way.
Oh my god, yeah.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very fucked up on Linux.
I mean, is there like an intermediary that kind of communicates with, or like some sort of standardization between the desktop environments?
Yes. So there's libraries, which are GUI libraries, which implement this message box for you. So for more popular ones being GTK and Qt, which if you include those libraries, are basically not much longer than this. But you need a whole extra library. So this is why so many apps got made for Windows so quickly back in the day, because Windows, the OS itself, ships all of this GUI toolkit for you, whereas Linux was like, I'm a server, I don't know about GUI.
Right.
And then later on, people came along and were like, hold on, we want GUI, and then they implemented it on top of the kernel. So on the one hand, this is nice because it means that the kernel has much fewer responsibilities when it comes to graphics. It doesn't need to deal with like high-level user space problems. On the other side, it means that depending on your desktop environment, things may go haywire. And you may know the X11 versus Wayland disaster. That's partially caused by people not being able to agree on what the best user space looks like.
Okay, but, so if I had this code right here verbatim, and I ran it in Wine, would I also get the same dialog box?
Yeah, so Wine has its own implementation of the header, and you would get a tiny dialog box in Wine too.
Awesome. Hey, I just solved your problem. I can do it in 3 lines of code. I just run it in Wine.
Yeah. I meant a Linux native app. Same challenge for FreeBSD users and Apple users, by the way.
Right. Again, Java's winning right now. Java's winning.
Oh yeah. In my book, it's winning.
Yeah, well, if I'm allowed a virtual machine, I can spin up a Windows virtual machine and then run this.
No. But let's get into some more code. I will be back in a moment, though. I'm going to go use the restroom, and then I'll join you guys in just a moment.
Yeah, so while he's gone, let me just mention the tiny thing we're going to implement is oops, that's a spoiler. When you have 2 windows tiled left and right specifically, and I'm going to make it just left and right to minimize complexity for the stream. It's a keybind which jumps between them. Because you may know in Windows, there's the only way you can jump between windows is Alt-Tab, but this looks like this is terrible. So we were going to implement two keybinds, one to go left and one to go right, and that's it. And we're going to use the low-level Windows API functionality from C++. And we're going to see a lot of nice features of both C++ and the legacy of Windows.
And if you're watching now and you've enjoyed this so far, feel free to give us a thumbs up and let us know that you're enjoying this. I, for one, am thoroughly enjoying learning this new skill. I haven't touched the C or C++ families in about 12 years. 12, 13 years. About a little bit longer than I've been with my wife. So it's definitely interesting to see how far it's come and see how much has changed, to be honest. I feel like I don't even remember this language.
Yeah, but the syntax is quite similar to Java. It's just that we're not forced into OOP, although we will be doing a lot of OOP and we will be making classes and so on. It's just that it's not.
Oh my god! I have to apologize for those people that keep watching me sit here and yawn as I drink coffee. Like I can't even explain it. I can't even explain it. It's been a long day. I'm sitting here drinking. I've got maple coffee, and I am damn right. I'm Canadian. Maple coffee.
I've never had maple coffee before, but I would love.
Oh, bro, here, try some. It's good.
Oh, it is good. It is good. Thank you.
That maple goodness. All right. So, how do we go about making a keybind so that we can flip-flop between our windows?
Right. So we are gonna need to register a keybind. Let me just see.
All right, man's bringing up Copilot. Let's go see what Jippity has for us.
No, GPT, we have the official documentation here. So the function
I'm just busting your balls, man. I'm just busting your balls.
Oh.
I mean, hey, we can have some fun. Let's see how well GPT does.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see on stream. I'll pay for the credits.
Here's what I would like you to do though. Write the prompt, submit it, and then minimize the application so we can compare after we do it.
No, I'm just gonna. Sure, we're gonna do that, but let me ask it to explain the register hotkey function from the Win32 API.
Like we're 5.
Oh, yeah, you should have told it to explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
Yeah. So, okay, it can copy pasta from Microsoft. That's good.
GPT has been copy pasta from freaking GitHub. I hope it can do the same from.
Actually, it doesn't copy and paste anything.
I know.
It does
I know.
not.
I know. It learns
does not retain
from
any memory. It learns just like you and I do.
Well, then it retains something.
Yeah. So, anyways, it said a lot of stuff we can compare later. Let's actually look at the official documentation. So we want to register a hotkey. It says, okay, so we need to give it a couple of parameters, and let's see what Microsoft explains. So the first parameter is a hwnd, which stands for a handle to a window. A handle to the window which will receive messages generated by the hotkey. So what does this mean? In Windows, the kernel passes around messages between processes. So when you use your mouse and click somewhere, that click generates a message in the Windows kernel, and the Windows kernel sends that message off to the program with a bit of information, like where it got clicked, for instance. So by registering a hotkey, we are asking Windows to send us messages whenever this particular hotkey gets pressed. And so we need to tell it which window in particular should receive the messages. And however, we can specify this parameter to be null, and then the messages are posted to the message queue of the particular thread. So since we're not making a GUI app yet, we don't have a window. We're just going to be receiving the messages in that particular thread. We can give the hotkey an identifier. We will use this later to identify the two different hotkeys, the go left and the go right hotkey.
Is this us defining an
will-
identifier? Like we're giving it an ID?
Yes, we are giving it.
Okay.
So we need to be careful to not give two hotkeys the same ID, because then weirder actions are taken. So we won't go into it. We'll just have two
So
IDs.
does one take? So if we called them both, would one just take priority over the other? And would that be the
we can
one
read.
that was? Sorry?
Or would both?
We can read that. It explains it.
Oh, so like both actions would happen at the same time.
Yeah. So so if a hotkey already exists with the same handle and ID parameters, it is maintained along with the new hotkey.
Okay.
The application must explicitly call unregister hotkey to unregister the old hotkey. So I'm going to open this in a new tab, and we'll check this out later.
So it'll literally run the two things together. It'll run the two.
Right.
Okay. Yes. That's crazy. Oh, I could see so many malicious things with that, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah, so, I mean, I hate to say it, but C++ is the #1 language for writing viruses.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Well, you say it has a lot of trust me, bros, and you can do a lot of switching around to those trust me, bros.
Trust me, bros, we're legit.
Says the shady bro in the corner with the trench coat and that black hat with the fucking. Trust me, bro, I got you.
Pee Wee Herman in a trench coat. Just...
Oh my God, no, no.
So what? On the topic of malware, one of the things that C is particularly good in, well, not that it's good in it. This is what it does. It interacts with your hardware. Like you have low level access.
I'll be back in a sec, guys.
Like, Java, you don't have that same shit. So if you find a vulnerability in like your operating system, in C, you could take full advantage over that operating system. Whereas in Java, like maybe you could still explore that same attack vector, but it's not easy, and they try to mitigate it by having these level of abstractions that they interact with the operating system in like a very safe way.
Yeah.
So and there is definitely malware in Java, but I think they mostly focus on like at the application layer instead of trying to operate at like the OS layer or the kernel layer.
Yeah. So there's two things to be said here. So most malware is nowadays designed to steal your credentials.
Yes,
and unfortunately,
which you cannot get around that. Like that will be a problem for the rest of time. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, but what I wanted to say is that stealing credentials is just yanking a couple files from the OS. So
exactly, which every language can do.
Exactly. So this would be where C++ would shine would be, for example, if you detect a vulnerable OS, to devise a zero-click remote code execution exploit.
Right.
Because then you can exploit the low-level things of the OS. You could write the OS yourself in C/C++.
Yeah.
For example, Windows and the FreeBSD support writing kernel modules in C++. Annoyingly, Linux doesn't, because Linus Torvalds historically hates C++.
Isn't Windows? Isn't Windows written in C++ or C?
Well, it was. Now it's getting more and more written in Rust.
Oh,
so is the Linux kernel as well.
Yeah.
There's been a big contribution of Rust code to the Linux kernel.
Yeah, well, we will get to the point today to understand actually what Rust does so well, and what are the different use cases for C++ and Rust. I'm not gonna be
with the borrow checker in Rust. It prevents use after freeze.
Yeah, well, I'll explain what it prevents exactly in a sec when we get to it. And I will explain also how it helps and how it also gets in the way. But okay, so anyways, the point which I was trying to make is that our program is going to be centered around the register hotkey function. So we're going to have our main thread run a loop So it's going to initialize, and it's going to run a loop just waiting for the messages, and that's it. So let me see how I could start it. So since we are Java programmers, I'm actually going to approach this, I propose, from a slightly object-oriented point of view. And I propose we start by creating a class. So in C++, the struct and class keywords are mostly synonymous. I'm going to use a struct here. I'm going to create a hotkey listener class. So let me just say a word on classes in C++. They are all value classes, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want it to be a reference class, you need to manually allocate it on the heap. That's the first thing you should realize. Second, the structs, by default, all of the members of the structs are public. Of a class, by default, all the members are private. That's the only difference. And we can change the public privateness of stuff by simply using the private keyword. And so the hotkey listener will have a couple of private fields. Unlike Java, we don't need to spam it all over the place. We just put it once. And then I'm going to have...
Then here, does the indentation matter? Like,
no.
kind of like
White
Python,
space,
No, doesn't matter?
Only?
No. Okay,
No.
I didn't think so.
None of the white space matters. I mean, obviously, a space matters. This would be invalid.
Mm-hmm. Same as Java,
more.
same as Java, but no like actual white space, like void space that matters.
Exactly.
Okay.
So let me just see something. Okay, so let's add a map which maps the IDs to the callbacks, so like what's actually being done. So let's say map from hotkey IDs to callback. Because remember, our program is going to be running a loop waiting for a message. While it's waiting for the message, it's not going to be taking CPU, mind you. So when the Windows gives it the message, it's going to wake up. And then I want to have a list of callbacks depending on which of the hotkeys. So for those who are watching, you can expand this code to a hotkey daemon of any size. Now, let's go back to the Windows documentation here. C++ has a lot of documentation reading, unfortunately. So we see that the ID is of type integer. So let's make the ID of type integer, of which maps an integer. So we need to include the standard header include map for std map.
I need to write something down. I'm going to write this down right now. I don't want to bring it up, but I have a question for you after. That is very interesting.
And the callback is going to be a function which takes no arguments and returns nothing. It's just something which is going to be executed, and I'm going to call it hotkey callbacks. So I should now talk a little bit about what the hell is a map, so you can look at the implementation yourself.
I kind of assumed it.
I've had enough.
I kind of assumed it was a similar thing to map like a hash map or a map. Yeah, key value pair.
Exactly. So it's uses a search tree, a balance tree. I am a big proponent of balance trees. I think hash maps are overrated. We could use a hash map, we really don't have to.
I think the implementation matters where it makes sense most.
Exactly. So we have stood unordered map, which is a hash map. For our purposes, we have like 2 or 3 hotkeys. Map is more than enough. So in these angle brackets, much like Java, are generic parameters. In C++, they're called template parameters. Because unlike Java, in C++, a new type is emitted by the compiler for every possible combination of arguments here. So let me give you an example by templating a function. We can template a function. So let's say template on a type name, T. And let's say add, T, A, T, B, and return T. So this is a generic function, meaning, let me see if I can actually format this. Let's format. This means if I have an integer A and an integer B, I can get an integer C by adding A and B. So the compiler here goes and said, oh, I found a definition of add. It substitutes in the template parameter automatically. We could also specify it. And generates on the spot the correct function to call. And so on the spot, when it encounters this line, it says, oh wait, I need the function with integers. Let me go ahead and write it myself. That's why it's a template and not a generic.
Okay.
So if I have doubles, let's say double A,
So
double D equals 6, and double E equals 7, and then I say double F equals add double. These angle brackets here are optional because the compiler can actually figure it out.
okay.
This function is a completely different function from this one.
Whoa. Okay.
Okay. So that's just like generics. Would that be the similar as like an interface in Java, but like a generic, taking in heavy generics?
Yeah, because an
It's
interface could
not
have.
really.
No,
So
but
that's
I
kind of
think it is.
that's kind of what I'm
It's like
taking away from this is that it reminds me of an interface of a generic type that takes and returns in a generic type.
Sure, you could say so. But again, the realization to make is that this is not type erasure. This is literally the compiler going ahead and generating your more
Yeah.
code on at
Whereas in
compile
Java
time.
we do have type erasure.
Yeah,
Yes,
we do have
I
type
just
erasure in C++
mean
too.
I just mean like I could write that exact same function the exact same way in Java with an interface and do the exact same thing you are returning both either an int or a double.
It's not explicit to an interface. You can make a generic function anywhere.
Well, I know. I'm just saying that the idea of a template, as he's calling it, reminds me of an interface. Is what I'm trying to get at there.
No,
Sure.
I think the interface is a trust me, bro.
There's more interfaces in C++. So in C++, so as you see here, probably in the add function, we are relying on a plus, like working for these types. So if we wanted to be more specific, we could say this template requires for two objects
To
of
have
type
that
T.
operator overloaded or something.
Yeah, it requires A plus B.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because if you passed in like a string and an integer, it might not know how to handle that because they're
Yeah, so
generic. It can take in any parameter type that it wants to.
Exactly. So unfortunately, don't ask me why, but you need to write the keyword requires here twice. Anyway,
Yeah.
so this defines an interface, as you called it.
Actually,
This is
I
an
think that-
interface, and
I
this
think that makes sense.
requires this interface.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. That makes sense actually. Yeah.
I could actually
Okay, I'm following.
I could actually pull this interface out and call it a concept addable equals
What is a concept?
interface.
Is that
Okay.
okay? I was going to
Requires
ask if
addable.
concept was the same idea as abstract.
No, it's an interface.
Okay.
So I say addable is something which for two objects supports A plus B. And actually we can be here even more explicit. We can say this should return something stud convertible to T.
So this is like instance of.
Yeah, so it means that whatever is returned here has an implicit conversion to T. We could do stud
Yes.
same as actually, which just says is exactly T.
Yeah.
So now if I use some type which does not support plus, it's going to tell me concept not satisfied. And it's going to give me a precise error. So exactly here you fucked up. You gave me types which don't work. This is
I love
one of
it.
the
I love
nice
it. You
things-
screwed up, bro. It's right here.
Yeah, so there's a legacy of C++ for having bizarre error codes, which very often stems from the fact that older C++ versions didn't have this. So at some point you could by error pass in types which don't support plus, and then you would get like thousands of lines of errors cannot find matching function call. And then you're like, which function call can you not find? Scratching your head. Whereas when the concept is not fulfilled, it just tells you this function you pass types which don't work, and that's it. Much easier to deal with much more maintainable and much more helpful. Anyways, that's a detour. The TLDR is I'm passing template parameters here. stud function is a type erased object, so we also have type erasure in C++, which contains anything which overloads the call operator. And yes, you can overload even the parentheses.
Oh my god.
Yes.
So
These
you
cheapers.
can make your own DSLs in C++ that look like that just are they totally break everything. Like something
Just take
that
logic
could
and
look like a
throw it out the
function
window.
call. Yeah, something that looks like a function call could add to things together, or
Yeah.
something that should bit like even if you overloaded like the bit shift operator, right?
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Could you look at my screen for a moment? Could you theoretically have something like this? Like,
Watching?
so if you have like int a is equal to 1 and int b
Yeah.
is equal to 2, and you do int c is equal to a shift b. Now, if you have overloaded this shift operator, I don't know how you do this. I can't remember, but
They're probably going to complain that you have conflicting definitions for bit shift because one is built in for int. You cannot define a thing twice.
But okay, hold on. Just give me 1 second. So let's assume that this is my overloaded bit shift function.
Be a little bit careful. You're defining that function inside of another function, so that may be a problem.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Yeah, thank you.
And you must define it before you use it, so you probably want to define it above main.
Okay.
That actually matters, does it?
So the reason it matters is to avoid this cyclic definition issues. So because functions can be just defined and not implemented, you need to actually make a decision on which one is defined first.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Whereas in Java, they do hoist the functions, but you cannot have functions of similar signatures. If it's the same signature, you can only ever have one, which is why you're able to hoist it to the top.
Right. So in C++, since you're allowed to promise the compiler this comes later, you need to decide on the order ahead of time. So that's why it makes sense to put this on top. Anyways.
Okay, so now, let's say I have this code right here. Int c is equal to a, blah, 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 b. Now, could I not just return some garbage and then here have malicious code, right? And now this is super abstract because like when I'm reading this, I'm thinking, hey, this thing right here is going to be a mixture of A and B. But in fact, it's not actually really doing anything, or maybe it is doing something legitimate. But now I'm executing malicious code, but I don't know it's even executing code at all because I didn't know this method was overloaded.
Yeah, this is an issue which exists in any language which has libraries. Like all the Node.js hacks work on exactly that same
but
principle.
you can follow the call stack easier.
And,
I guess maybe
generally you can't override a bit shift or comma.
You can in Kotlin. Kotlin, Scala, and Groovy, I believe, do all have operator overloading, and they all compile to JVM bytecode. I think Java's the only one that doesn't do that, which is why I love Java. I don't particularly hate Kotlin because of that, but that is one of the flaws that I do see in Kotlin as well. Is like I expect this line right here to do a very specific thing, but it could be doing anything. And if I'm not like taking this with a grain of salt and I'm not taking every precaution, it just allows like malicious code to go over your head.
There's a lot of things which allow malicious code to go over your head in C++. As I said, on the one hand that. On the other hand, remember, linking takes place after compiling. So if someone switches out the libraries which are completely separate from your source code, you're suddenly calling their malicious code.
Right.
It allows if you ever use the system instruction to call the shell, someone could switch out the shell and suddenly you're running their garbage. So you have to be very cautious. But again, we're close to the metal. The language is designed to do exactly what we tell us.
That is true. It is doing exactly what we tell it to do, but it's almost malicious compliance. Whereas I would like if there was more rules. Like we need more rules. I think people thrive under having restrictions because when we're restricted, it prevents bad things from happening to us, and it still allows us to do the creative things that we want to do, just in a different but safer way.
Yeah, so you sound like someone who would prefer Rust. I mean, that's the main selling point of Rust. Is it has this borrow checker, it has a much more restricted rule set, which tries its very hardest to prevent bugs ahead of time. So in the Rust programming language, it's very similar to C++ in essence, but it has many more safeguards to really stop you from doing naughty things.
Now, not to veer off too far here, but can we jump back to the trying to set up
I agree.
callback? Sorry, I don't want to. We've diverged a lot during this. During this.
We did.
So
But
I'd like
I'm
to.
having fun, man.
I
I'm
really,
soaking in
I
so
really,
much information.
I really am too. I'm not gonna lie. I'm having a lot of fun, but I'm also at the same time I'm super curious to these keybinds and how we can just flip flop between
Right.
between things, and I'm curious to see something here. Like, what is the next thing that we do now that we set up a map of
We're
integers
not
and
done.
what's the
We're
next
not
step?
done. So I'm gonna actually define a type for the hotkey itself. Because like here we have just a map from the hotkey IDs to the callbacks, but we need more knowledge with
Now,
more data with the hotkey itself.
is this common in C++ where we're putting multiple structs or classes inside of a class, or like what? Like, is this common
It's in a
or
file?
yeah? And so like
Yeah.
Well, I don't think this is a class. They're like so in Java, streamapp.java, right? That would be its own class. Whereas I think streamapp.cpp, it's just a file.
yeah.
There is no inherent class in there. You could put in an entry point, but there's no class. So this isn't like a class inside of a class. This is just one file with multiple classes in it.
Yeah, and in C++, it's very common to just declare classes all over the place because it's so easy. Like, there's no overhead. We get the constructors for free, and by default, everything is public. So if I need to, like, return more than one thing, I just make a quick class and just put it there. It's very easy. So it's much
That's
less
crazy.
mental overhead to get your hands on the class. And for example, this hotkey class is going to be a super simple class. So if we look back to the register hotkey function, we need to like register a hotkey. So a hotkey is going to get ID. It's going to get the virtual key code, so the actual button on the keyboard we are listening for, and it's going to get the modifiers, so like shift, alt, control, and so on. So I'm just going to make a struct which contains these three things. I'm just going to actually copy and paste in here. I don't, so this is an unsigned in and an unsigned VK. And actually I could, yeah, I need semicolons.
Instead of so what does unsigned default to? Because it
Unsigned
could be like so it's just in. Okay. That's not intuitive at all because it could be an unsigned float, unsigned double, unsigned.
Yeah,
I guess for the majority of
that.
code, like you use an integer most of the time. So
sure,
I
so
guess
I'm gonna
that
use
makes
the
sense.
WinAPI type alias uint.
Oh, it's an there's aliases. So you can have an alias. What?
Yeah, you can alias everything.
Okay. Okay, let's get back to the code.
You can alias variables, you can alias function, you can alias everything.
That's so funny.
That's crazy.
Remember, it's a flexible language. And you can alias namespaces.
Yeah. Flexible like a strip. I mean, this is good maple coffee, boys. This is good maple coffee.
I wish I had some of your coffee. I drank a lot of hot chocolate today. I got this mint hot chocolate.
Well, conveniently enough,
like 3 glasses.
Conveniently enough, this is Tim Hortons maple coffee.
Really?
Yeah,
okay,
it's just
I'll
the
have
home.
To go check that out tomorrow.
It's just the home bag. So I just got a bag of coffee that I can just brew in the perk.
Yeah, I'm gonna go have to. So it's brew. Like you got to brew it yourself. Can I go get that maple coffee from Tim's though? Like not the bag, but
not
can
the
I order
same.
one there?
You can get the bag there, but you can actually get during the maple season they have maple shots, which you can get a maple syrup shot in your coffee, which is the same thing.
That's
or
that's
it's kind of the same thing. But what I have is the actual like perk bag of coffee that you throw in the coffee perk.
Right.
That
Yeah.
they don't sell that by the cup in Tim's. They just sell the maple shot into it.
Right. Yeah, and I
Which
don't want any artificial flavoring. I want some fucking maple in my coffee. That's what I want.
come out, man. Give me your address. I'll ship you some maple syrup. My wife's no, dude. My wife's mother's husband, like her new stepfather, his family
Okay.
owns a maple syrup tree tapping farm. Like they literally own a farm where they tap that out and they make the maple syrup. We get maple butter, maple syrup, maple cream, maple, like you name it, we get it. Like it's amazing.
We don't do all of that. Up at the cottage, we get our we make our own maple syrup. We tap into the maple trees on our property, but
Hmm.
we just make maple syrup. We don't make any of these other
Oh,
maple products. So I would definitely take you up on that.
like
I will absolutely take you up on that.
they make all that shit, and like honestly, man, make yourself
Ooh.
on a hot day, make yourself a nice piece of toast and put on some maple butter on that, dude. Have
I
some maple
wouldn't mind maple
coffee.
fudge.
Oh, dude,
I wouldn't
it's
mind a
great.
maple fudge. My late grandfather, my late Papa Murray, he used to make fudge all the time, and he made this one maple fudge, and it was to die for. It was so good. So I think that's what I need is some maple fudge, man.
Mm.
Anyways, again, a tangent. Tangent.
That's
I
okay.
see, Prof, you're typing away. You're typing away. Can you explain some of this to us?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna sort of architecturing the stuff I wanna have implemented. So I'm gonna have a thread which actually listens to the call to the hotkeys. That way we
Okay.
can stop it.
So that's the thing that's going to continuously listen for whenever we press a
Right.
key, right? Okay.
Exactly.
Or that's the
So
thread we're listening on.
yeah, the thread that's listening for
And-
the keybinds. That's just so that we can actually gracefully stop it. Technically, we don't need this. We could just have the main thread to do this.
No, we want to be able to we want to be able to stop this thing gracefully.
Yeah.
We don't want to go
So
smash.
we're
We don't
gonna
want to
have
smash
a-
into a wall like a crash dummy.
Right. So we're gonna have a start listening function and a register hotkey function. The register hotkey function is just gonna register the hotkey with the callback, and start listening is gonna start listening. So let me just see to make sure that we're doing this properly. Okay. So once again, we're gonna be eventually calling the register hotkey function. Maybe I should start with that. So the hotkey is gonna right. So first of all, I'm gonna take my map hotkey callbacks and at the address of hotkey.id, I'm gonna put the callback. Hotkey, that's a typo. Right, so I'm gonna register the callback in this map. In C++, the way you put a value on a map is with operator square brackets, which is a little bit counterintuitive. This is not a lookup, this is an assignment. So if the entry with this key exists, it's gonna overwrite the value, and if it doesn't exist, it's gonna insert it into the map.
Makes sense.
I love that. Okay.
It kind of
it's like compute if absent for Java maps.
I was going to say it kind of reminds me of a Java array the way it's assigning there.
Right.
Yeah, but this is basically calling compute if absent.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, yeah, I get that. I just mean that by first glance looking at it, it looks like it's taking an array of this slot and assigning this to it. Like to me, it looks like an array assignment, which is very self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's a map, it works the same. So let's actually call the register hotkey. So as I said, the handle to the window can be null, in which case it's the handle to the current thread. I'm gonna do it on the main thread. We will not cancel it gracefully, I'm sorry. To make it a lot simpler. So
Okay.
we're gonna register hotkey to the main thread. We're gonna use hotkey.fs modifiers. Hotkey.id, hotkey.fs modifiers, and hotkey.virtual key code. That's why I put it in a struct to just have all the parameters in one object. By the way, yeah. By the way, you asked about aliases. I should tell you about aliases. So let's say we have an integer a, which is 69. Nice. We can introduce an integer alias, So this ampersand here on the integer stands for reference, which is really an alias. So if I say int alias aref equals a, then aref becomes another identifier which refers to a. So now we have two identifiers referring to the exact same object.
So
So-
why would you ever want to do this? Why would you not want to reference it with the name that it was originally assigned?
So you will never do it like this, but you can do it in a function argument. So now this function argument is not being copied, it's just an alias to something which exists outside of the function. And
Okay,
since-
is that to not to confuse or mutate anything that you shouldn't otherwise be mutating?
So the const here is to do that, to prevent
Okay.
me from mutating the argument.
So that
and this is to
okay.
prevent me from copying it unnecessarily. Because again, in C++, by default, everything is values. If I want something to be passed by reference, I have to ask for it. So here I'm saying pass this by reference, by an immutable reference, so I can't change it. And only pass the reference, don't worry about copying the whole thing. I don't need a copy. Obviously, like this, you would never do this. This is not really useful. All right, so there we go. Now, let's look at the return value. So if the function succeeds, the return value is not zero. So for a Boolean, non-zero means true. If the function fails, the return value is zero, so false, to get error information called getLastError. So we need to deal with the error. Otherwise, we may be incurring undefined behavior. So I'm actually going to make an exception type here. So let's make an exception. I'm going to call it Win32 exception. I'm going to inherit from std exception. This is only a, let's say, being nice to a fellow developer thing. In C++, you're allowed to throw absolutely everything. You can throw an integer, you can throw a character, you can...
I want to throw the table.
You can throw a table as well. You can throw absolutely everything. It does not have to inherit from an exception type. And we do not have checked exceptions. So let's actually implement the exception class. We want a constructor. So the class will only contain a integer error code. And let's just introduce a constructor, Win32 exception, which gets an error code. And all it does is initialize the error code as error code. And nothing else. And that's an int. Sorry. There we go. So this is a constructor, much like Java. The field initialization is done before the constructor body. That way you can be sure that the constructor body runs with the fields already ready to go.
Okay.
In this case, there is no particular extra logic I want to do inside here. And we can actually override one of the functions here. It's a function which returns a constant character pointer. It's called the what function, as in what went wrong. It's a function which does not change the state of the object. That's why it's const. And we're going to override the base class function. So I'm going to write override. Just return Windows API error occurred. So this is my exception. I'm going to add a function. It's going to be a void function. I'm going to call it check error. And it's going to take the Boolean right.
Sorry, should we incorporate the error code inside of the Win32 exception?
Sure, we can do that, but remember this is a pointer to a character, so we actually need to store the string then inside the object itself. String,
Okay.
Let's include the string. So in C++, strings are literally arrays of characters. They also support like the index operation.
So how come you taught us about the... Okay, wait, here's another conflicting thing. This is I'm very conflicted. So you can have a reference to a character and supply it a string. And then, okay, so from how I understand it, it's the pointer to the first character in the string. Then you read it until the byte is 0 or -1 or whatever the delimiter is.
Yeah.
But now you can also have a string and assign it to the same type, and it will do essentially the same thing, but like something different under the hood.
No, you can't. So the std string type is a string array. To pass it as a character pointer, I need to pass the pointer to the first element, and I'm going to do that in a sec. So I need to explicitly do it, and I will. So the error message is going to be a string, which I can format. Windows API error occurred. Code.
So what? So here, okay. But here, okay. This is what I'm confused about, and I'd like you to look at my screen again. So
sure thing.
you have, I can't remember the name of the type, but let's say you have like car A is equal to this. Oh, I can't remember the character.
It needs to be a constant character.
Right. But then you have this other type. What was it called? It was called
string.
Sorry, it was
string.
No. Include string. So
Yeah,
here, and I include a. So if I include string here, how do I define a string again? So I can do like string.
Let me explain that.
STD : string is how you describe it.
Okay, STD : string. Let's call that A, and I can also assign it the same thing. And now look, these are two totally different types, right? So standard string. This is a different type than this here. Oh wait,
it's completely different. Yes, you need
it is completely different. But okay, let's take.
You need const. You need const in front of the character.
Const.
Character star.
Character. Yeah. Okay. So these are two totally different types. No, that's still not working.
Yeah.
Oh, because it's the same. Okay. So these are two totally different types, but I'm assigning it with the same literal, even though that they are totally different.
Yeah. So the secret to that story is, so the type of the literal is a const character pointer. So that assignment is the second assignment is a legit assignment.
We can assume that they all delegate to this at some point. This is just some sort of abstraction here.
No, it's not. In C++, constructors are allowed to be implicit. So this equal sign there is actually calling the constructor of the substring type, which takes a const star argument as its only argument.
Okay.
So that is equal sign there is a constructor call.
Okay, so
that one is not.
However, we can agree that the types are different.
Yes, so the A is not the same type as B. It's just that B is implicitly convertible to A because a constructor exists, which is implicit, which takes as a single argument B and spits out a stud string.
That makes sense, but like if let's say I'm reading most of the time the right side because I want to see like I do care about the type, but that's not the first thing that I see. The first thing that I see is what that type is, or like what kind of information is stored in that type. So if I have this like equals to the exact same thing, I would assume generally that they're the same type.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, they're not. This is another.
I've heard of a lot. There's so many unfortunate things. I'm not hating on C. I have so much respect for this language. I like how flexible it is, and I like how much freedom they give you. Right. I just think like moving forwards, like the way that programming is going right now, I think we need our freedom a little bit restricted. Just a little bit.
Just a little.
I think there's definitely there's such a thing as too much freedom. Too much freedom just insinuates chaos, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, this was a legacy choice. By default, a constructor with only one argument is an implicit conversion constructor. So it is allowed to implicitly convert. And when the compiler encounters the equal sign, it's like, shit, this is not the same types. Can I find an implicit conversion? It goes looking for an implicit conversion, it finds one, and then it executes it. If none of those implicit conversions were defined, then you would get a compile time error. You can mark a constructor, and this is something I should have done. Thank you for reminding me. Gonna mark the constructor of my exception explicit to disallow an integer to randomly be converted to an exception.
Yeah. And sorry, I'll be back in just a moment again. I'm going to go to the restroom.
Yeah, so explicit here is going to prevent exactly that behavior with the string. So now if I do exception equals integer, it's going to say constructor is not implicit. It's marked as explicit.
Okay, perfect.
I'm going to add one more constructor. It's actually going to be a delegating constructor. It's going to be a win32 exception, which with no argument. I'm going to call the other constructor Win32 exception, but I'm gonna call it with the output of get last error. It's gonna put the last error into it, and then this will call the previous constructor and put the nicely formatted error message in here, and then we can return a pointer to the first element of the string. We need to be a pointer, and the nice thing about stud string is we have the error message, the data function in it.
But what does data
The
do?
data function, it returns a pointer to the first element of the array.
Okay.
It returns a this pointer. If you look at the implementation, it literally just returns my pointer.
Okay.
And now we will have nicely formatted exceptions. And
Nice.
we're gonna implement the check error bool error status. And if the error status does not equal 0, sorry, if the error status is 0, so it means it's failed, then I'm gonna just throw a win32 exception and call the constructor, and that's it.
Awesome.
So
that looks pretty
now
straightforward.
we can use this check error function here, just wrap a register hotkey in it, and it's gonna check if there's a win32 exception. If we were writing C at this point, I would need to write an if-else statement on every single possible function which could fail. So this is much nicer.
That is actually pretty clean how you just wrap that. Because Java,
Yeah.
you do that shit with a try-catch.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just wrap it, and since I don't need to declare exceptions, everything just works.
I like that. That's really clean.
So we registered the hotkey, and we have the hotkey callback. Okay, perfect. Now we need to actually get the callback for switching left and right. So before we do that, before we start, okay, actually let's implement start listening. That's fine. So, which is just gonna be a while true loop. I mean, I'm sorry, but we can deal with clean cancellations later.
Yep, that's fine.
So the first function we are going to call in a loop is the get message win32 function. There we go. We're going to get the message. So this get message can fail. So we need to check error get message. So first thing is a pointer to a message struct. Let's look at what a message struct is. I need to actually create this message struct. And it has a whole bunch of stuff. One thing which I should... No, I don't need anything. So this message struct is gonna receive the data of the message we receive. So that's why Microsoft says here it's an out parameter. It's a pointer to the message struct which will receive the message information. I mean, this function is gonna populate the fields of this struct. I'm gonna pass it the message struct. Next is the handle to a window. I'm gonna give it null. We do not have windows. We do not want to filter.
I'm really sorry. I'll be back in just a second, guys.
Sure. Let me just make sure.
So I think while I was using the restroom, I kind of lost the plot with this check error function. So what is this exactly doing?
So check error is taking an error code and checking if it's a failure code. If it is a failure code, it's throwing an exception. Okay. The exception constructor calls getLastError from the Win API to put the error code into here, and then it calls the previous constructor, which also formats the error message to contain a Windows API error code this.
So this
actually,
is like...
I can do this in the constructor initialization list. So let me just do error message here. This is even more performant because I don't need to initialize stuff twice.
Okay, so this is kind of akin to the assert keyword in Java, where
Yeah,
like
I'm writing my own assert. Yes,
Okay, I gotcha.
it is an assert. So check error here is an assert. We can rename it assert.
Excuse me.
Actually, I cannot. That's a naming conflict. Oops.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is it
so it has an,
is that in the Windows header file?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
That's a very dangerous name to name it. Let's just leave it as check error. So the lowest number and the largest number, I don't really care. If both of them are set to 0, returns all available messages. I'm going to set both to 0. I don't care. I want every possible message here, and after this function, by the way, blocks until the message is posted, so it's going to actually not use CPU.
Okay, so you're not utilizing 100% of your CPU
Yeah.
in this while true loop. I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's blocks and awakens whenever the Windows API sends you a message.
Okay.
So at this point, we're going to be able to get a message. We need to actually check which message it is. So if the message dot message, the actual message type, now we need to go back to return hotkey. So we get the message WM hotkey. So if the message is not the WM hotkey, I'm just going to log the println. Println, please. Do I not have print included? I don't. So std println info received unknown message. And I'm going to add the message. It's not a terminal error. I'm just going to continue the loop in this case. So now we know that the message is the hotkey message. Now we can take a look at what the message actually contains. So the message struct here, and we need to be careful. So message struct here contains a W param and an L param. So W stands for word, meaning a small parameter, and a long parameter. Basically two parameters.
Okay, sorry.
We can possibly get.
So this is something, Mike. This is something that you see in the RSPS spec a lot. So you'll see like Q word, D word, etc. Can you actually elaborate on what those things mean? So like a short word or a long word, what are those things?
A word is 2 bytes, and the long word is 4 bytes. That's about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quite literally.
Do you know where that etymology comes from? Like, do you know, like, how do I know that? Because I know a byte. A byte is a byte, right?
I believe it. I believe it's just general computer science.
Yeah. Why? What are words in Windows API?
Well, like D word, like he was saying, like a D word and whatnot is things like is in computer science in general. I can't remember for the life of me off the top of my head. I'd have to do a little bit of googling to remembering like he's doing. But generally, it's
so in this case, this is a integer pointer, so it just points to a integer. It is what it is. It doesn't really matter.
So
it's just
you said a word is 2 bytes. It's 2 bytes.
Yeah. So in the days of 16-bit Windows, the word parameter was a 16-bit word, so 2 bytes, while L param was 32 bits.
Okay.
So in Win32, they're both 4 bytes. Legacy.
Oh, right.
I mean, we're dealing with code which was written in the 1900s, believe it or not.
Okay,
stop saying
again.
Stop
That's
saying
a trigger word,
1900,
man.
man.
That's a trigger.
Damn. Respect your elders, son.
That's right. Although we need to respect the young folk. He's teaching us right now. We're learning.
Yeah, I know, right? We gotta respect the young folk. Someday the younger generation takes care of us.
They are taking care of us currently. Believe it or not.
Right.
Right. So in the WM hotkey, the W param, which was a word, now is no longer a word, is the ID. So remember, we actually had an ID to the hotkey. This is the ID of the hotkey which gets pressed. So here I'm just gonna say hotkey callbacks off. So I'm going to @ So there's a difference between @ and square brackets, which I'll explain in a sec. But @ also looks up the value at the key, as you imagine. Message.w param. Sorry, it's MSG. I named it. .w param. And we're going to just call the operator parentheses overload of that stud function. And remember, the thing at here, the value is the function itself, so I can just call it. So at here it basically accesses the key at the value, but throws an exception if it doesn't exist instead of assigning. So I actually need to wrap this in a try-catch block, and this is not the cleanest way to do it. The cleaner way would be to check if it exists, but I mean, who cares? I'm just gonna catch the stud out of range exception and do nothing with it. Doesn't matter.
Okay, so now, here's another question. You have this try-catch statement. It's
Yeah.
the exact same thing as Java. Now, what is the difference between the check error function and the try-catch? If
Yeah,
you're
I
trying
was-
to anyways.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing. I could. It's just that I can't change the definition of at.
Oh,
so
and
I know
at
that this
throws, it
at
throws.
throws it,
Okay,
and I
I
catch
see.
it.
I see.
Okay.
So
Actually,
would
if I
you
think
say
this way-
that delegating it to that function that you made that is akin to assert, is that like the more modern way of doing
Yes.
things? If you okay,
I mean, we have
gotcha. So-
exceptions for a reason. We use them to make our code cleaner. Because the alternative would be a whole bunch of if-else statements. Because again, the
Right.
getMessageA function itself doesn't throw. It just returns an error code. And if we don't check it, we are running into undefined behavior, as I mentioned, which means data corruption, which means crashes, which means all sorts of problems. Much better to convert it to a actual error, which I can deal with, which I can possibly catch, which I can reason about, which I can use later in my code, versus just a mysterious number, something went wrong. Fuck yourself.
Hey now, we only get one of those. We only get one of them F-bombs. Speaking of F-bomb, I got a little F-bomb right here that my wife made, if you're looking at my camera thing. My wife
I am now. Give me a second. Wait.
my
hold on.
wife crocheted me an F-bomb. It's literally like what looks like a bomb.
Where's your camera? You do not have your camera on Discord.
No, I do not have it on Discord because I can't have it on Discord and open broadcast at the same time.
Oh, you can't. Okay, I was gonna try to turn on my camera too.
Dun,
I'm
dun,
glad
dun,
that I didn't know that.
dun. F-bomb.
I gotta find your stream. I'm gonna look at your stream. Give me one moment.
Oh, you're gonna have to rewind it
Did
now
you
because
actually- That's fine. Okay. Well, I'll do it later. I'll see it later.
I'll show it to you after the screen anyway.
Yeah.
It's a little F-bomb. She crocheted. It just looks like a black, one of those like stereotypical like black bombs with a wick and a little flame going on the end of it, but it's got a big red F on it, so it's like my F-bomb.
That is really cute.
So
That is
if
really cute.
So if I ever want to go on stream and say, "Oh, mother," I can throw the F-bomb.
Yeah, that's. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
It's great.
That's awesome. Okay, so now we are done actually with a hotkey daemon. This is a working hotkey daemon, by the way. So if anyone wants to make a hotkey daemon,
Oh,
there you
and
go.
I'm also going to throw out. I will, for those of you who are watching, I will force Prof to throw this onto GitHub, and we will share the link after the stream is over.
Sure thing.
No.
So-
Prof is gonna add like some sort of license that dissuades people from copying this. Monetize it. Monetize it.
No, yeah,
No.
you must
I'm
be,
gonna-
you must,
I'm gonna-
you have to be subscribed to the Midnight Coder in order to use this code.
That's
That's the condition.
I agree. But Prof needs a portion of the cut. He's got to take
Yep.
a cut from it.
Yeah, you got to like this video, subscribe to it, and then you got to go star his repo and follow him on GitHub.
You got to jump through all the hoops. If you want this code, you got to jump through hoops.
Yep, this is rare code, one of a kind. You'll never find it anywhere else. This is not AI slop. This is Prof slop.
And frankly, this is a borderline flop. The way you are gonna stop this hotkey daemon is gonna be that you go to task manager and kill it. Because
So-
it cannot kill it.
So you got to take. We're riding.
It will never exit gracefully.
We are riding.
No,
We're riding this fucking shopping cart of a ride, and we're just gonna smash into the wall to stop.
Is this considered a daemon? Because everything's running in the main thread right now.
Yep, it is. It is a hotkey daemon.
Oh,
It works. I mean, we can even test it at this point, I think. So basically we're gonna have two callbacks for the actual hotkeys, but we can just like test this out for like a test callback. Let's like void
Yeah, just print out hello world.
test callback. Let's just print out stud print out. Oops.
When I hit
Stud,
space, I want it to say hello world.
will that crash anything? I need to be careful not to kill my windows. I don't think so. I can do that.
But if he starts this program and then we lose Prof, it means his computer blew up.
No, wait, hold on. I have another question. So, if you open this executable outside of the context of a command line interface, and you call like standard print line, where will it print?
So the
Like, if you
Windows kernel will actually associate the console to you. So it will make a small console, print it to that console, and then immediately close the console, which is slightly annoying.
I know, I've seen that before. I've seen that in so many applications before, and I didn't know why that happened.
Yeah, so this is why you see the cursed system pause in very many C++ programs. Please do not do that. Like, as I said, calling the system to do pause for you is a security nightmare because anyone could substitute the meaning of the command pause and just kill your program. So don't do that.
Oh, with the Trust Me Bros.
Yeah. So don't do that. Instead, you can just do like stud get line or read line.
No, actually, I would like to correct myself. That is not with Trust Me Bros. That is with aliases, which is a different thing than Trust Me Bros.
I was gonna say, Trust Me Bro seems more like YOLO, bro.
So let's actually make a hotkey listener here. Listener. We are gonna also make a hotkey. So I don't know, space hotkey. So we're gonna need to do some looking up.
Oh yeah, because whenever I hit
ID, I'm gonna
whenever I hit the space bar, I want this bitch to print something.
Oh,
hey, that's your one and only B bomb, man.
No, I get lots of B bombs. It's PGF. It's PG-13. You only get one F bomb, but you get a couple of bitches.
Oh, what's the difference? Who dictates how many F bombs and B bombs I get?
There's actually a thing about this. If you look up the movie regulations and whatnot, the PG-13 is literally one F bomb. If you use more than two or more F bombs, it becomes an R-rated movie.
Really?
Yep.
I want to know why.
I can't remember. My cousin actually went to there was a school in Halifax for he's a director is what he is. He does small films and whatnot. My cousin, and he taught me this little fact that he learned in, I forget what the hell the name of the school was, but it was downtown Halifax that he took schooling. It was just really interesting. I thought it was kind of cool.
So I defined the hotkey here. I'm gonna give it ID 1, sorry. It's just our internal ID. No modifier, so no shift, no nothing, and the virtual key code is the virtual key code for space.
Okay.
VK space.
Now, if you wanted to do like control space, MS modifiers would be like VK_control.
Yeah, the FS modifier. So let's make it actually control space. I do have control space bound to something already. Oh no. Can I do control alt space? Yeah, I could do control alt space. So let's do mod control.
And then you have to OR it. Yeah, that makes sense. It flips a bit.
Bitwise OR. Bitwise
or it concatenates the bits.
Okay.
So all of these modifiers, are they powers of 2? They are, yeah. Yeah,
they are. They
hex
are.
1, hex 2, hex 4. Yep. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
See, that's the nice thing about copy pasting files. You see the source of everything. Anyways, so that's the hotkey we want to register. Let's see. So we want the listener dot register hotkey space hotkey with a test callback, and listener dot start listening.
Okay. So now if you run this, anytime you hit the space bar or control alt space, we should see detected hotkey in the console.
Ideally. Now, I would like to say, when we're writing this,
Go!
Yes,
Let's go!
Let's go.
Yeah, baby.
This is not a huge amount of code, but for any people that want to get in development, please test your code early. Do like baby step at a time to make sure that everything's working.
Let's do this. Do this. Control shit.
We kind of wrote everything and
Yeah,
then
baby.
expected
Let's
it to work, and it did. It worked out in our favor.
favor. Let's go.
That's amazing. I like that. Okay, awesome.
All right. Now, how do we tab between two windows? Like, how do we recognize two windows in our system, and how do we swap between two? Let's
I just needed to use Task Manager for a second.
Okay. Another. So I have two questions.
Let's go.
First of all, how come does this? I mean, I guess this can't exit gracefully because we don't have any sort of way of stopping it.
Now I got. I got too excited. Hold on, I'll be back. You guys keep going. I got too excited. Too much coffee. Too little bladder.
No worries. So, can we add a hotkey that makes this exit gracefully?
Yes, but it requires. Well, then we would need a second thread. We could make it so that when you press enter in the console, it exits, for example. But then we would need a thread which deals with the console, and then another thread which listens for the hotkeys. We could do that here too.
I was going to say, why couldn't we have like a Boolean that says like it's terminated, and do it in the same thread, and then whenever you press that hotkey, it changes the Boolean, and then change the while loop to listen for the Boolean?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. You can do that. You should do that. I didn't do that. I can show you.
We can do that now. Would that not be shorter than implementing a new thread?
Yeah, but let's actually. It's actually quite a long while to get to the windows which we are switching across. So let's, for the sake of time, let's actually implement.
I see. You're very forward thinking. Okay, I gotcha.
But let me just answer your question by showing you this. In the code I prepared for today, I actually have the listen for message function take a stop token as an argument. Now, stop token is exactly the Boolean you're talking about. And the loop actually loops until the stop token stop requested is activated.
Right.
And then you have a graceful exit from the loop.
Okay.
So that's that. Anyways, let's actually implement the two proper callbacks here, which is unfortunately rather painful to do. And here we're going to interface with some of the most grotesque and ugly bits of the Windows API. It is what it is. So the key function we need from the Windows API is a way to get windows. And you would be surprised how ungodly many windows there are, which you are unable to see.
You're on Windows. Of course there's 50,000 windows.
Yeah, so I can probably scare you in a second here with this function. It's the enum windows function. So it enumerates all top-level windows on the screen by passing a handle to each window in turn to an application-defined callback. So what this does is it asks the kernel, please call my function on every single window on the desktop. So we need to give the kernel a function which it calls for every single window, and we have the opportunity to pass a parameter to the function, which we won't be doing. So that's how we're going to get all the windows. Now we need to be a little bit careful. So in the Windows API, windows are represented as handles to windows. And handles, much like memory, can get allocated and need to be released. So because we are dealing with a resource, which is in this case not memory, it is a handle, I need to implement a struct which cleans up the handle properly. So now we're going to get into the most legendary C++ idiom, the thing which makes it safe compared to C, which is ray, R-A-I-I. Let's make a unique window handle. And so here we're going to be interfacing with some of the rather advanced C++ concepts. So let me...
what is the acronym RAII? What does that stand for?
It stands for Resource Acquisition is Initialization. And it will make a lot of sense as soon as you see the sort of code I'm going to write in a second.
Okay, I was going to say, that those are some big words. Don't
throw big words at me, Daddy.
So the resource in our case is the window handle.
Okay.
acquisition in this case is getting the window handle from OS, and initialization refers to initialize an object responsible for the window handle. So the object responsible for the window handle is going to be the unique window handle, and we're going to initialize it from the handle. It's going to have as a private field the handle. I'm going to call it M handle just to avoid naming conflict. Let's just call it handle, it doesn't matter. So then this needs to be this. I'm going to initialize the handle as handle. Now, in C++, we have constructors, just like in Java, but in C++, we also have destructors, which do the exact opposite of constructors.
I need to interrupt for a moment, please. Sorry. I wrote down a question. I told you I was going to write down a question a long time ago, and it was involved deconstructors. So my question was, if you have a function that takes in a series of arguments, and you have a struct that also uses all of those arguments in the exact same way, they're all the same type in the same order, can you pass in a reference of that object to the function that takes in those raw parameters, and will it automatically deconstruct the object?
I don't quite understand the question. So your question is, if you pass a struct, will it automatically call the destructor?
No, that is what I asked. That's not necessarily what I meant. I think if I demonstrated it to you, it'd be better. So if I have some sort of struct here, struct test. Sorry for my naming. I'm terrible. And I have like an A and B. And then I have a function called do something with test. And that takes in int A and int B. Now, if I, in this test function, was going to call do something with test, I could pass in 1, 2. Could I don't remember how to initialize something in C, so could I do like
just test T and then equals curly braces,
Okay, and that'll be
and then the two values.
Yeah. So now, can I pass this test struct into do something with test, even though it's not expecting a struct, it's expecting these values with its deconstructor?
You'd have to do T.A and T.B. I think
that would be cool if it did some sort of pattern matching against the struct.
This is not cool, and let me explain to you why it would not be cool. This is because there is a assembly level difference between a function which takes two integers as parameters and a function which takes a test as parameter. So if the function test as parameter, it takes these two integers directly next to each other in memory. Whereas the functions, the arguments need to be passed in different registers. So
what if the compiler could realize this and it was like, okay, instead of doing this instruction, it says like insert address whatever X into the current register, and then same with the other one for let's say Y, and then it calls this function with the items that are on top of the stack. Like it injects them into the stack and then it calls them with the top of the stack.
That would make sense for integers, but you would have a difficulty with things which have a non-trivial copy constructor. So if the copy had side effects, it would not be clear that whether or how many side effects it should cause.
Yep. Okay, I understand.
So it is actually a performance boost to pass it in one register. So it's actually recommended to pass it as a struct and not as two different integers. Because that way the compiler can stuff it into a single register and be way faster.
Right.
Also lower register pressure, which is amazing. So, but the deconstructor does not deconstruct things into tuples. The destructor is a function which runs at the very end of the lifetime of your object. So the constructor is the birth of your object. The destructor is its death. Right. And the compiler guarantees you that this truth is always fulfilled.
So okay, so that's conflicting. So in in Java or Python, when you think of a deconstructor, you think of something that it does not finalize the object. It deconstructs the parameters associated with an object. Whereas you're saying that in C++,
Oh, okay.
it is like this happens when you like are done with the object.
Yeah, this happens when we can.
So
Actually, let me just backtrack for a second. I misunderstood. So it is possible to implement deconstructors in C++, which deconstruct your
right.
objects into multiple objects. So you can still pass it to a function, no way, but you
Yeah.
can extract multiple objects from your thing. And the very simple way to do it is to introduce an implicit conversion operator to stud tuple.
I think the conflict arises because we have the same word for two different things. So a
I think the word
deconstructor.
is very slightly different. It's a destructor, as in destroy, not deconstruct.
Oh, sorry, destructor. I said deconstructor. Okay. Okay, they sound similar, but they're two totally different things. Two
Right.
totally different
And
things.
I want to like tell you a little bit about how amazing destructors are, because they're guaranteed by the compiler to run at the end of the lifetime of your object. 100,000%. There's no exceptions. So this means that even if an exception is thrown by your code, before that exception begins flying around, all the destructors of the living objects before it are called.
Mm.
So the way that it's implemented is that the exception throw is a call to a completely different block of code, which is far away, and that block of code contains a list of all the destructors which need to be called before the catch block. So by doing our close handle, the release of the handle in the destructor, we are sure that even if an exception occurs, before the catch block, this handle is correctly freed.
Right.
And this is an amazing development of C++. And this reality, the reality that you have a constructor which sets up the object, and a destructor which ends it, and that there is nothing else after the destructor, nothing else before the constructor, is the foundational idea behind Rust. So this is Rust. So this is what the borrow checker does. It makes sure that you don't have references all over the place, which live longer than when the destructor happens. So in Rust, you also have
in
constructors
C or C++, could you have a reference like there could potentially be a reference to an object that has already been deconstructed and no longer exists?
Yes.
Okay.
That's an exploit.
Okay. Okay. So this would be akin kind of like maybe I don't think there's anything similar in Java because it's very sequential, but I think the best comparison I could make is like if there was a race condition in a null pointer exception at the exact same time. Like
exactly. You're completely right. So in C++, it is also by the semantics of the language prevented for you to have a reference to a thing in a sequential context, which doesn't exist, because the reference is created and destroyed during the lifetime of the object it refers
right,
to.
but you still maintain the reference, but it no longer exists. And that's why we have garbage collection in Java.
Okay.
Right, so you have garbage collection.
I was just going to question that if it was more like a garbage yeah, okay.
So this is a garbage collector, right? So here we are saying, how do you collect yourself?
Okay.
This handle collects itself by closing itself.
Right.
Okay, makes sense.
So there are a few fuck-ups here which could be... Oh my god, I used another...
Now we're rated R. Now we're rated R. Good job. Good job. All right, anybody
else? We're at it then. Fuck. I've been waiting to get that out of my system.
Drop the F-bomb! Oh my god!
Hey, this was your fault. You said we were already rated R. I trusted you.
Yes, well now we're definitely rated R. Like fuck the duck. Yeah, that's
Screw
okay.
The kangaroo.
No, we're not going that far. We're not going X-rated. We're not going X-rated. We're not getting. We're not getting X-rated.
I mean, I want to draw your attention to some very serious vulnerabilities and problems which could occur here. So first, you have two objects here with the same handle. They're going to both try to free it, which is a double free. Another exploit.
So this is another race condition where you free something after it's already been freed.
Yes, so we need to prevent this, and we actually have the materials to prevent this. So we're gonna add something. Yeah, so we need to deal with how this object gets copied and moved. Because this object should not be allowed to be copied. Because again, if we did have copies, then that would result in a double free, which is watching this is peak entertainment. Yes, let's go. We love peak entertainment. So
Yes.
we need to make sure this is not a double copy. So let's actually write a copy constructor. So the way we copy construct is we construct from a constant reference to another object. And since this is not supposed to be copyable, we're going to delete it. So this means
what is that keyword? What does the
Ooh.
delete keyword do?
So in this context, it says compiler absolutely under no circumstances do not copy this object.
Okay.
Which is very important because otherwise you're running into a double free.
Right.
In Rust, all objects are implicitly this.
Okay.
So in Rust, you are not allowed to copy objects. Exactly because of this reason. You may get a double free. So we need to deal with assignment operator. The equals operator. Which is also not allowed to copy our thing. So we're telling the compiler under no circumstance are you allowed to copy the thing. Absolutely not.
Swiper, no, swipey.
So we are allowed to move this thing. So we can move it from one location to another, but we need to be a little bit careful. So the way we implement a move operation is from a temporary. This double ampersand means that this object is a temporary. Means it's not going to survive very long. So
Poor fella.
Okay. So the asterisk is a pointer, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
What is a single ampersand? What does
It's an
single
alias.
ampersand? It's an alias. So then is the
This is also an
ampersand?
alias.
So is it an alias of an alias?
No, it's also just an alias, but it's an alias to a temporary.
So what's the difference between a not temporary and a temporary? Obviously,
a temporary lives somewhere in memory, and a temporary doesn't. So it's like a literals don't live in memory. It's like the result of a function. So like something which is not yet saved to a variable.
Mhm.
And this is okay because if this is not yet saved, basically, then I'm allowed to save it into this object because I'm still going to be the only one with this handle.
Now, if you removed the other asterisks, how would this method, the constructor behave differently?
If I remove this is a copy.
Yeah, how would that interact differently?
Oh, it wouldn't?
Well, that would be this constructor, which I just deleted.
Oh, so this is a different method signature or constructor.
It's a completely
signature.
different.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a completely different method. So I mean, again, it doesn't make sense for the temporary to be constant. So there's not really a constant temporary. So we're gonna get my handle. Is gonna be initialized from the other guy's handle, and then I'm gonna say the other guy's handle is the invalid handle. Invalid handle value. Or rather, I can just say other handle equals 0. Just put it to 0.
But that's a magic number, and we don't like that.
No. It's not a magic number. Here I'm going to check. Is my handle 0?
I don't know, but
it is a magic number because we don't know
the sheer fact that 0 is being reused, but we don't know what 0 is or represents, makes it a magic number.
Sure.
Null is better. I would say there's probably something better than null, but null also makes sense.
We could just do invalid handle value.
I mean,
awesome.
Yeah. See
yes.
that. Now why is the equals not happy?
Listen.
Let's see. It is
no. Hover over the other.
Let me see. Let me see if there's the Windows API. The Windows API wants me to use no. I'm sorry.
No, no. Hey, you know what? That's fine. That's
Way
fine.
to-
It's better than 0.
Way to go,
Why can we
Microsoft.
use no? It is what it is. The invalid handle value is the invalid value for different kind of handles. Sag. So right, and that's fine. But here we also need to be very careful. Actually, we don't. Yes, we do. What if this temporary is me myself?
Throw
Then I don't
caution.
want to delete my own handle.
Throw the caution out the window.
Yeah. Yeah. So we need to check if this myself is the address of other. So if I am being assigned to myself, then we just.
So why is that one at symbol other
Actually,
again? Or
this is the address of other. This
not
is
that.
this.
And
So this in C++ is a pointer to yourself.
yeah,
to
yeah,
your
yeah.
own
I
address.
understand that, but I mean the ampersand. Why are we checking if this is equal to ampersand other?
Because other is the object, and ampersand other is the address of the object. So the ampersand
Okay.
here is the address of operator. Ampersand here is an alias. It's not the same thing. Here it's an operator. Here it's an alias. Operator alias. By the way, this
Okay.
operator can also be overloaded and overwritten. So the correct thing to do here would be stood address off to avoid the potential of someone overloading operator address off. But since it's my class and since I'm not a crazy developer, I'm not gonna overload ampersand for my own class.
Whoa. Why are you not a crazy developer? Why are you not a crazy? I'm crazy. He's crazy. The guys watching
We're
this
all
are crazy.
crazy.
We're all a little
That's
mad.
right. I agree. I agree.
Yeah, well, I'm not crazy enough to overload the address of operator. I think it's a little bit too much. By the way, we should make this move constructor no except, meaning it does not throw exceptions, which quite ostensibly it doesn't.
Okay.
And let's make a move assignment, which is the assignment operator. It takes the same temporary reference. Other. So we need to check that I'm not the other one. Oh, why is the typo? It's not a Windows handle, it's a window handle. And otherwise, I say handle equals other dot handle, and the other handle is null. So if I am moving from a temporary, then the temporary's handle becomes null, which then does not get freed, and my handle becomes the handle of the other guy, which does get freed. So basically I'm making a switcheroo. Let me make paint. So if I do have a temporary, which is about to die, then the fuck?
You didn't type.
it
was like PAIT. I think you put into your terminal or your run. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. What?
Typo.
So basically, we have one object and the other object. This is the object being constructed. This object exists, and now I'm constructing an object. This guy has a handle, which I'll mark as an arrow. What I am doing here in the constructor is I'm taking that handle here into my object and removing this one. So
so you're allocating it to like a different space in memory, or
I'm just not reallocating it. It's already allocated.
You're just moving it from one spot to another.
Right.
Like one slot in memory to another? Or
yeah.
Okay.
I don't quite understand.
So you're taking it from one place in memory on the stack, and you're moving it to another location on the stack, on like same size, same everything, just one spot to another.
Yeah. So these are handles. So the window is somewhere over here. The handles are basically just, as it said, handles to a window. So like, let me draw a window here. So the blue thing is the window, your desktop or something. This guy has a handle to your desktop. Now, I'm going to steal his handle. Now I have the handle on the desktop and take it away from him.
Oh,
so now he is relinquished of the responsibility to delete it. So no delete.
Now, what happens if if they tried to this is getting really confusing now. So let's say these guys were operating in multiple threads.
No.
No, it's working on the same physical core thread.
No, I think that this is possible, and I think by his laughter he understands where I'm going.
Yeah.
Um, so what kind of conflicts can arise when one tries to give reference or precedence to the other when they're on multiple threads?
Yeah, so if you try to move from the same object into two threads at the same time, you can get the conflict that the race condition that both of those threads copy over the same handle, and then you have a double free. So
Okay,
if you
okay,
are in a threaded situation, you need to synchronize this. You need to lock
okay.
the mutex.
Yep. Okay.
So this is prone to a race condition because it's a read-write modify, right? So this needs to be either atomic or it needs to be a compare exchange or a mutex guarded operation.
I think atomic
So
might
you
work
should be
too.
I think atomic is enough. But you need to take care about this on multiple threads. And this is why I said I'm gonna write it on just one thread.
Yeah, we don't need to worry about this. Everybody, everything's okay. We're in safe hands. My brain it's lit up right now.
Yeah,
That's
well, there's a
exactly what's
lot of
happening.
problems could happen, right? You could get a serious problem, and like the likelihood that you get like these two copies of the handle if you're race conditioning is very high because the CPU may be copying cache lines to different cores. So
Right.
it's actually quite possible that you get a double delete here, which again is
Right.
an exploit, which is a vulnerability, which is a CVE, which gets you a Stack Overflow page, which gets you fired from Microsoft. So you shouldn't do that.
I think we need to rename the stream to why you should not use C++.
You should not use C++. Well,
You stick to Java, people.
I think I'm like you wouldn't do this in a situation where you're extremely concerned about safety, right?
Of course,
So,
of course.
so
So is there a preferred method?
what do you mean? So if you are extremely concerned with safety, you
Yep.
would add a mutex to this. You would instrument your code with
Yes.
runtime checks.
I was
You would
going
build
to
in
bring
debug
up
mode.
I was going to bring up the fact of Java has semaphores, which kind
We
of
have to.
like you can lock onto that semaphore and kind of wait
Yeah, we have
something
that
else.
too. We have that.
Okay.
Yeah, we have that. So all
Okay.
the primitives are so the OS, right? So the OS is responsible for scheduling processes. So all of the primitives are actually implemented on the OS level. So like, let me just show you. And since it's on the OS level, we can actually look at it on the Win API. So the Win API actually implements, for example, mutexes. And we can create a mutex from the Win API because it's an operating system.
So what is a mutex?
Utility.
My definition of a mutex, I think, is different from your definition of a mutex.
Well, I mean, the definition of the mutex here is whatever the Windows API tells it we are allowed to do with it.
Okay. So
So,
my definition of a mutex
mhm.
is something that disallows you from accessing the same thing at the same time. Not like a semaphore, but more like you would create a mutex context when you create, like, let's say, an HTTP server, right? You don't want to be able to run two HTTP servers on the same port at the same time because they would conflict with each other. So you would have some sort of mutex in place to if one port is already open, the mutex would be responsible for checking if that port is already open and failing if it is open, and therefore crashing the program. So you can't have two things trying to compete for the same resources or etc.
Yeah, so again, this is a similar idea. The way Windows implements it and the way the standard library specifies the implement, right? So the standard library, first of all, has a wrapper around the OS native primitives for the mutex because the mutex fundamentally needs to be implemented at the level of the scheduler because the scheduler is the one which decides which thread gets to run and when. And
Bro,
trying to do anything in user space to schedule your threads is a disastrous idea, which you should never attempt.
Dark Reader. Dark Reader. I'm gonna tell you right now. Dark Reader.
Sorry.
Dark
So,
Reader.
but then,
It's a plugin for your browser. It makes every website dark mode. No more flashbangs.
While we're on the same concept of criticism, why are you using Edge?
too lazy.
There we go.
Good
There we
answer.
go.
That's a good answer.
There we go,
no,
bro.
You know what? Every browser besides Firefox uses Chromium anyways. You're gonna have the same performance. Honestly, Microsoft Edge is
Realistically.
actually pretty good. It's actually really good now. Like, I'm not gonna lie, we hated on the Internet Explorer for the longest time because we had Chrome, we had Firefox, and they were better than the Internet Explorer. But Edge is actually, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. So let me just mention, we were talking about scheduling, right? So
Yeah.
the OS provides a lot of scheduling primitives. Do not attempt to implement them yourself. There is a 2-page email of Linus Torvalds insulting the living bejesus out of someone for them attempting to implement a synchronization primitive in user space. Don't do it. So these standard library features directly call the OS native primitives responsible for synchronization. So you would create a mutex, and the mutex you can lock. If you are trying to lock a mutex which is already locked, your thread is blocked. Or if you do try lock, then you get an error message. And when you're done, you unlock. And notice, this is also a resource, right? So it will also need a constructor-destructor pair to make sure it is actually unlocked at some point in life.
Right.
So that's why we have stud lock guard, which is a very trivial class, which contains lock in the constructor and unlock in the destructor. And just make sure that you never forget to unlock your mutex. Anyways, we're not going to do threading here. It's very difficult. You need to deal with many different problems. Like, let me just highlight one problem which you may encounter on when you're threading. So imagine that you have a variable and int a equals 5, int b equals a, sorry, and int c equals b. So the compiler is allowed to optimize this code by the specification into just int c equals 5.
And int b equals 5 as well.
No, it's just allowed to delete these variables.
But no, because what if A and B were referenced?
So if they're referenced on the same thread, then the compiler needs to take care of it. However, if they're referenced on another thread, undefined behavior, because you need to actually deal with atomics then. And you need to deal with memory ordering. So there's a lot of precautions which need to be taken when dealing with threaded code. Again, because the compiler is allowed by default to make many assumptions to speed up your code, but exactly these assumptions may break your multi-threaded code. Anyways, we're not doing multi-threading. Hell no. Let's actually implement this function.
Yeah, let's move windows.
Let's move windows. Am I done with the unique window handle? I'm not actually done with it. I need one last. I need an accessor function. I need an accessor. So I'm gonna just have a getter which returns a constant reference.
Well, we've already broke so many rules on this. Like, we've already dropped the F-bomb a couple times, maybe once or twice. So, this podcast is officially R-rated.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm about to do something that you don't normally do.
What is that? Can you tell me what you want to do before you do it?
No, I can't.
That's like the Mark Cuban. Did you see that Mark Cuban clip where he got fined for saying the F-bomb?
I could tell you what I'm doing, but you could probably guess.
Oh. Yeah.
We're all right. We're all ready.
We're all ready.
We're already X-bombed.
Hey.
X-bombed. Oh my god, we're X-bombed. That's it.
That's okay. Is there anything further? Like, if I if I do anything else, how do I get myself banned? I think that's the next
No.
step. How do we just get
No.
banned? Let's
No.
get banned. Let's get banned.
Start seeing friggin' people tweeting, cancel Midnight Coder, cancel Midnight Coder.
So I'm gonna implement first a function to get all the windows. Again, this is not the most performant way of doing it, but it's the most understandable one. Unique window handle. So it's gonna, a vector is just an array list. Literally the same thing. We have a unique window handle and we're gonna get all the windows. So we want to use the enumerate windows function and not that.
Wrong window. Be careful on what
Yeah,
you're.
I don't have any R-rated
Be
windows,
careful
except
about
your
what
string.
Be careful about what tabs you spontaneously show up. We are live streaming.
Yeah,
we
do
cannot
not.
edit. We cannot edit that out. Please don't share
Listen,
your fluffy. I mean,
if any website that you're visiting starts with the letter P, forget about it.
No, it's fine. We have
Don't check either. Don't check, please.
No, it's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. Do
I
not
really
double
don't have
check.
any.
It's fine. It's fine. I watch it on my phone.
That's.
I just had the link to my YouTube channel open. It's fine.
He's thinking this is why I have a second monitor.
This is why he has 3 monitors, so he can goon twice at the same time.
Yeah, you got 2 eyes, a left and a right.
That's right.
So we need a function which is going to be called. So I want to get the list of all windows. So this should be here. List of all windows. So I'm going to have a stud vector of unique window handle result. And I want Windows to put all the windows into this vector. So I need to give it a callback as the specification, a pointer to an application defined callback function. For more information, see this function. So this function should just take handle to a window. That's the window being added right now.
Okay,
let me just copy.
I need to interrupt you again for a second. This is something I've noticed. How come window, like, what is HW? Window is...
Well, it's just a reference to, like, I think, like, I always thought it was hardware, to be honest.
It's a handle to the window. Oh.
Yeah,
handle to the
yeah, it's just
Okay.
it's just a reference. Yeah, yeah.
So that function should take the handle to the window being added and an L param, which I won't use. I don't need.
Now, how? Okay, so most things are seemingly you're passing handles around. You're
Yeah.
passing by reference. Do you ever pass by value?
Well, the handle itself is being copied.
So you just
So
extract
everything
the
is actually
value.
being-
So you just take the values from the handle, is it?
So everything is being copied. It's just that the pointer is being copied, but the pointee is not, because we are not actually dealing with it.
So what happens if you didn't suffix the parameter with an asterisk and you didn't pass in the handle and you just passed in the raw value? How would that
It would be
interact
copied.
differently?
It will be copied. You'd get a copy. So in the Windows
the
API,
value would be
not
copied instead of
actually-
the reference being copied.
Exactly. Yeah.
And now how would that interact with the program? Like, what kind of conflicts could come from that?
Well, no conflicts can arise. You're gonna call the copy constructor, and if the copy constructor is deleted, as in this case, you're gonna get a compile time error telling you cannot copy this.
Which is one thing I don't I hate about Java. I think I shit talk C++ too much now. I can tell you what I hate about Java. We do not have any viable way of copying objects.
They are working on that. Sorry to cut you off. It is something that they are prototyping right now with carrier classes.
That'll be implemented in the next 10 years. The
Java actually they're actually expecting it to be previewed in 27.
So we're on 25 right now. So each release is about 6 months, so next year,
roughly.
Well, next year from the release of 2020, or sorry, from 25, which I think was in September. So September we should have that probably as a preview feature. But I hate how slow the Java development ecosystem is. It's so fucking slow. Like we
Yeah, I can
just
agree
got
with that. I can agree with that. It's very. I
we
mean,
got I understand what they're doing. They're trying to be safe, right?
mhm.
They advocate for backwards compatibility and they want to be safe. However, I think they're maybe sometimes a little bit too safe.
Yeah, they definitely
I
play it a little
would
too safe when it comes to trying to go from version to version. I believe that
right.
there should be a much smaller window, and I really wish that Java would come out with, maybe even, two versions a year, or at least something to that
No,
nature, I think.
here's something I want, man. Going on a total tangent, and this is actually something I wanted to bring up. I'm not going to get into this now, but I would love a breaking change in Java, like a Java 2.0, kind of like how Python 2 and Python 3 diverged from each other. I would love something similar in Java. I
We
would
have
love something that is no
Kotlin.
longer backwards compatible
Kotlin.
with no, because Kotlin still runs on the same JVM. They're not the same thing.
This is just to just pick it.
I
C
would
sharp.
love something that's not backwards compatible in any capacity, and any code that you write on Java 2.0 will be required to have Java 2.0. I want to eliminate backwards compatibility from like here on forth.
Mm.
Also, I love the documentation. Thank you very much, Prof.
Yeah, so I'm dealing with the Windows API here, right? And the enum Windows function takes a callback function, which it calls on every single handle of available Windows. So to have two options, basically. I wanted to populate the contents of this vector. So I could either type erase the vector and pass it here, but I think that's uglier. Or I can pass it via a side argument and a global variable, which in
I
this case is actually cleaner in my opinion. So the
not
static keyword here means
not
that this variable belongs to this C++ file.
Right,
So it's
as
not
opposed to an object.
I
right.
have a
So it belongs to the.
I have a quick question just because um
Mhm.
I referenced Java. Null and true. Do both of those specifically have to be uppercase in?
It's the Windows API. They want you to do it like this.
Okay,
It's
so it
just
is
part
it.
of the Windows header.
So those values
Okay,
are
wait,
you can't just use
so that's an
lowercase true.
alias.
Yeah, that's an alias.
That's an alias. So could you not also pass one?
Yes.
Okay.
Magic number. Magic
Yeah.
number.
Yeah. You could also pass the keyword, the language reserved word true, and it would implicitly convert to one.
Okay,
And
Right,
better.
right.
that's what I wanted to know is does it specifically have to be uppercase or can you pass like a lowercase primitive, so to
So
speak?
lowercase is the C++ keyword, which refers to the Boolean true. Unfortunately, the bool from the Windows API is an int.
Oh shit.
So
Oh
Like a C.
booleans,
wow. Okay.
booleans
Okay.
in C++, are they a single bit or are they a byte?
Unspecified. So they just need to be able to distinguish true and false, and everything that is not zero implicitly converts to true, and whatever is zero implicitly converts to
At
false.
least when you compile it, after it's already been compiled, does it try to optimize it to be a single bit or
Oh
does it use a
yes.
byte?
So the CPU has a specific flag register, which there are instructions in the CPU like test, which tests, for example, if some condition holds, and then if the condition holds, that flag in the CPU is set, and then the next conditional instruction can use that flag to determine it. So the boolean doesn't even exist in the CPU. It's just a logical abstraction which the compiler completely eviscerates out of
Right.
existence.
So now, how are they handled internally? Like, is it using one bit or a byte or an integer?
Completely
Or
depends. The compiler is allowed to do whatever it wants to it.
right,
But
right.
if you put it in an array, then it's going to be 1 byte because that's the smallest object size possible.
Right.
Now, the stud vector, specifically stud vector of bool, has a specifically different implementation to all other stud vectors, and it actually does use single bits for each of the booleans.
Is it? It's not. But I'm assuming that there is some sort of like, what did we? When we were doing the TOA interface, Mike,
Mhm.
we used a bit. What was it called?
Oh, a bit set.
Bit set. So is there like a pool of bit sets that
Yes,
that
stud
will
bit set.
toggle?
Stud
Okay.
bit set.
Okay. Okay.
What comes from STID? Is that just a standard library? Is that what that stands for? Or like,
Yeah.
what does STD stand?
Standard.
Okay, standard.
Standard, not the other thing. Relax.
Yeah. Not. This is R-rated now, right?
I'm it.
X-rated. Sorry.
We've finally crossed over to X rating. Now we're talking about STDs. All them studs.
No, we're talking with
standards.
Standard library, man. It's
Right, sorry,
library.
wrong standards.
Get your-
Wrong standards.
Get your
Wrong
mind-
standards.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
Oh god. This is why we're the midnight developers, because it's the after hours.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna write a few utility functions to make this nice and readable.
All right. Well, while you do that, while you write your STDs, I'm gonna go and top up my coffee. I'll be back in just a second.
I was gonna say the exact same thing, Prof. You're on your own for approximately 1 minute.
Okay.
You're on the spot, man. You got
Yeah, so right now I'm writing a function to first get all the windows and put them into unique window handles. And here we see the application of the temporary object, because here I'm constructing the temporary object and immediately pushing it back into the vector, which I passed via the side argument. This gets all the windows, and then I want to filter out the arranged windows. Since the unique window handles are not copyable, I need to pass them as temporaries. This is why here I'm passing them once again as temporaries. And I will be basically yoinking out only the ones which are arranged. So for that, we're going to make a for loop over all the unique window handle references. So unique window handle. We need to loop over references because, again, we're not allowed to copy them. For all of them in all windows. Yes, C++, unlike C, supports range for loops. So if we can then check, is window arranged? That's another function from the Windows API. We're going to do handle.get to get the underlying handle to the window. If it is arranged, then I'm going to, first of all, I need a result vector. So the vector of unique window handle result.
I am
By the way,
back.
one difference to Java is that the default constructor is called implicitly. So I don't need to here do anything with new or something like that. So here, this is a constructor call with nothing specifically specified here. I think this is kind of like Kotlin. Anyway, so if the window is arranged, I'm going to push back. And now I need to basically steal the window out of the other array, because again, we're not allowed to copy them. And to do that, we're just going to do std move of the handle. So std move says, please steal the contents of the handle and pass them as a temporary to this function, meaning the handle in the original array will be destroyed, but that's okay because the original thing is also a temporary. We're allowed to break the temporary. And we're going to return result. So that's how we get the arranged windows. And with that, we can actually start writing the move to left window function, which will going to be one of the last functions for us. So let's start by, I'm going to use the auto keyword to not have to spell out the whole type name, get all windows. So then I'm going to, once again, actually, we can do it much better. Auto arranged windows. The return value of the function is already a temporary, so we can just filter that temporary immediately. And this is what I mean. It's temporary because it's only temporarily being used as the argument of this function, the return value of this. And this is exactly what C++ is checking when they tell it these double ampersands. So
unless you override the operator for the double ampersand.
But this is not an
Sorry.
operator. This is notation. But I could have overridden the address of operator, but I didn't.
But
so none of
That's
my types
weird
did.
though, because you said that you can override the comma, but you can't override the
A bit-
double ampersand.
Yeah, because it's not an operator. This is not an operator. And the comma in
lied.
the function list is also not an operator.
But you
The
can't
comma,
override it though.
Lied.
not that comma, the other comma. If I do stud print line one thing and instead
Oh,
of
sorry,
printing,
that's a colon. Okay.
no, this comma, this one I could override.
Yeah. So, but you said that's not an operator.
This one is. This one
is an
on
operator.
yeah, that one is. The one in the function parameter list though isn't.
Oh my god! And it's this. Okay, that's even more confusing. Oh no!
Okay, it seems like you broke Hayden.
Ah! Ah!
You've broken
Oh
Hayden.
my god!
Way to go. Congratulations. You broke my co-host. Good job.
Okay, so we want to
Okay.
find.
Okay, I understand. I understand.
Cheap.
Okay, so we need some information about the particular windows, and we can get the information from the Windows file using the get window info function. So let's look at some more documentation. So it takes as a parameter the handle to the window, no problem. Let's see, where am I? Okay, so first, actually, I want to make some. So if the arranged windows dot size does not equal 2, for now I'm gonna just say work
Windows.
in progress.
Too many windows. Too many windows. That's what you got to say.
Yeah.
You got to make it throw.
And
You got to make. You have
This
to.
is okay. This is the point of our program. We're gonna be able to switch between the windows.
Yeah, so
But-
you're going to be able to switch between 2 windows. If you wanted to do 4, please implement it yourself.
Well,
So-
if you have more than two open, have it throw a conniption fit and be like, too many windows.
That's
Oh
right.
my god!
This program does not run. Actually, we should force it to not run if you have more than 2 windows open.
Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm basically saying ignore the hotkey here.
No,
Okay,
ignore.
okay,
no,
okay.
I'm
You're
saying
you're on
this
Windows.
will
No,
not
no.
open.
Trust me. You're on Windows. Okay, so in where it says work in progress, you want to have this. If there's too many so if windows are greater than 2, you want it to do Windows period, and you want to go search for the symbol emote table flip. That's an actual thing.
If there's more than 2.
If you have Windows period, there's an actual thing, and if you go into like the smiley faced emoji things,
It's a series of characters, but
No,
yeah, they have like templates.
it's a table flip thing. It's actually called there's an actual name for those type of emojis, but I forget the actual name. But they're like
I know
they're
what
like-
you're talking about, and I also cannot remember the name of them.
it's like
I could call this
yeah.
function.
It's not an emoticon. No.
No.
Okay,
It's like
never mind.
it's like an AC or AC.
ASCII art.
Yes, an ASCII emoji.
Yeah, this one.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, literally, like on
Yeah, by the
your
way-
on your keyboard, literally hold the Windows key and press the period key. It'll bring up a window, a little menu.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go. And if you go to the other
Up there,
tab,
the tab that looks
you
like
hit
the
the
smiley.
winky face,
There,
yeah,
now
there you
right
go.
there,
you
right there.
and then you can search for table flip.
Just start
Yeah,
scrolling.
that's
Just start
okay.
scrolling down. Scroll down. Keep scrolling. You'll eventually see it. Whoa, a little far. Keep going down. Keep going down. That's happy. Greeting.
acting cute, sad, angry.
Angry should have-
We're getting somewhere.
Table flip should be somewhere around there.
It is.
There it is. Right there. Right there. Right there. Right.
Fine. Okay, fine.
Oh, I
I'm
just-
actually gonna get a problem with Unicode here, so let's swipe that under the rug. One thing I did want to point out, by the way, in the Windows API, you have access to the K bug check function, which literally causes a blue screen.
Oh my god.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Best
Oh.
rank of the week.
Does this okay? Does this require escalated privileges or no?
Yes. Of course. Yes.
Oh.
Okay, no, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Good thing.
Because
But
I'm just saying, like, what if you just called this and you just fucking crash? You can just crash somebody's computer.
Right?
Yeah, so as you can see here,
April
it's only in
Fools!
kernel mode. It's only in kernel mode.
Aw,
So-
bro, don't
Okay,
show
okay.
don't show me the stuff that's in the God kernel, okay? I don't wanna. Don't show me stuff I can't do.
So we want to get window info on the first and second window. So the second argument is a pointer to a window info structure. So let me actually make a window info structure for the first window. So unfortunately, due to legacy, I need to set the field CB size to the size of the structure in bytes. I have no idea why the kernel doesn't already know this, but apparently it doesn't. So
Ah.
this is legacy
la la.
for you.
And
And
so-
now we can
So that
pass
gets
it.
the size of the type that you pass into it,
Yes. I have no
Okay.
idea why they did it like this.
and
It's a
that's in
god
bytes.
awful idea. Yes, this is in bytes.
Okay.
See, it's a compile time constant. It's what?
Okay.
64.
Here,
It's 60
what
bytes.
was that one type that you said uses bit sets and interacts in bits?
Still bit set.
What happened? What would happen if you passed in size of that one variable of the bit set? Sorry.
You know what? I'm gonna give it as a homework to the viewers out there.
I think that's homework
you.
for all of us
Okay,
after.
find
Now-
out.
I
Hayden.
want to know. I want to know.
No. Hayden, Hayden.
We're all gonna do it.
Check out
You can do
the
it yourself.
check out the chat.
Yep. 1 second.
Like check out our chat. I should be more specific on
Yep.
that.
Yeah. Of course. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, and the address of first window,
That's amazing.
and the let's.
I meant the last
check it.
message.
I've seen it.
Second window, there we go. And let's get this second window information here.
Okay.
So now we have the info of both windows. So let me just make a handle. This is a temporary handle, not an owning handle, to the left window. So if the first window dot the client rectangle, so what the client sees, and then the
Okay.
left side is less than the second window. Let me full screen this. RC client, RC client dot left. Then the left window is the first window, so arranged window 0 dot get. By the way, since this is a constant function, the compiler will probably not call it twice, but cache the variable.
Okay.
And then else, it's the other one.
Okay. Perfect. And that just flip flops. Now, do we do the
And
same thing?
finally, the last
We don't-
last function I need to call. Wait. Set
No.
foreground window. I need to actually put it in the foreground.
Okay.
It just takes a handle to the window.
A heart. Okay. A heart handle. Now, because we're setting the left window there, do we have to set
Yeah.
a right window, or do we just ignore that fact?
Yep, I'm gonna copy paste most of the code here for a move to
Oh,
right window.
right. Sorry.
No,
We're in the right window. Okay, right. I was
Then
totally.
moves to the left window.
Mhm.
Let me rename this variable to right window. Let's check the opposite condition and set it to the foreground. The rest is all the
Now,
same.
do we set
Again,
are
not the
those
cleanest.
are those arrays being set in the same format, like the now that we chip flip the array, like right window equals arranged window 0? Is that still the? Yeah, no, that'd be. Never mind. Ignore me.
Yeah.
Ignore me.
yeah.
Ignore me.
So that's that. Let's define two modifiers. Let's say left hotkey, and then we need a right hotkey.
And then we need to change the VK space to VK
Yeah, so
left.
do we have any votes? Let's see. Can I do Control Alt H and L? Yeah, I can do Control Alt VKH. What is? I want to do
This
the
will
Bing
be
keybind.
Control Alt H.
Yeah. Let's Google the virtual key codes. I want capital H. It's down there somewhere.
Is it not
The
just
H key
VK?
is the hex. Nope, unfortunately not.
Oh,
It's
there's
hex
no
48.
alias for it?
Yeah.
No.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna make an alias.
Yes, nice, nice.
Love it. Love it.
VKL.
I do want to
Let's.
say you are the C++ expert here. However, I hope that both of us have had an influence on your decisions in some sort of capacity.
Yeah, I think that you have. I mean, Java as a whole has had a lot of design influences on my design decisions, especially naming conventions and such. And like the fact that I even decided to make this in an object-oriented way, right, by making a hotkey listener class, was heavily inspired by Java.
But
Yeah.
C++ is a precursor to Java. Wasn't Java actually written in C++?
I believe
Maybe,
it.
I don't know.
I believe in the. I believe at the first there was there was. I want to say yes, there was some level of
I
it.
think we're done.
Some
Boys,
level
I
of
think we're
like.
done.
Ooh, are we done? Are we done? Oh my God! Let's go! Go! Let's go ahead.
So I
Wait,
have,
sorry,
no,
I'm
we're
way
not
too.
done, boys.
I'm over caffeinated and way too excited for this. Like I'm like a fat kid
Cannot
with
open
cake.
it for writing.
What did you do wrong? What'd you do
I
wrong?
cannot
What'd you
open
do
Shell.
wrong?
Oh, maybe the task manager. Let me just restart Visual Studio for a sec. I may have killed an important Visual Studio process.
Oh man, the man's
Cannot
code
open for
broke.
writing.
So
Just a
how
sec.
come
Why can you not
are those
open it?
compiler errors or linting errors?
All right, guys.
This is a OS error. It
So
says
got
cannot open the target application for writing.
just to
Yeah,
throw this out here.
sorry, Mike. Yeah.
Our buddy Real Memes, who is watching us right now, is just asking us what the goal of this window is that we're making.
Well, hang on.
the-
We will show you in just 10 seconds. Wait.
I was just gonna say okay, whatever.
No,
It's top.
let's build up
It's
the anticipation, man.
it's
You gotta
top
watch.
secret,
You
man.
gotta
You
watch
can't
it.
know. It's
You
top
gotta watch
secret.
it. It's coming.
It's top secret.
What is locking this file? Delete it, please. Oh, I didn't kill it.
Try ending the process tree.
Oh, there we go. Bye.
Never mind. See you later.
There we go.
Okay.
So let's tile two windows. Let's press Control Alt H and Control. What is it working?
No, you have to have the
it's
app
not working.
selected. Ah, is it not?
Is it working? It's not working. Oh, maybe the keybinds.
This is okay. This is true to the developer experience. Now let's go back and debug exactly what the fuck is going on.
Oh, I know. I didn't register them. I'm an idiot.
Oh man.
That's left.
This is okay. This is okay. This is why we're live. This is why we're live, so that we can mess up and learn together and all fail at once and be transparent.
So let's register the right hotkey.
Let's go.
With the move to right window. Of course, if you don't register the hotkey.
Okay, now guys, I promise you this is going to work. And if it doesn't work, it is entirely Prof's fault and neither of ours because he is teaching us. So all of the spotlight is on Prof right now.
Okay, so I got an exception. So
Kill your process. Kill your process. Kill your process.
Let's try catch the Win32 exception. And then E.1 error.
E.what?
What?
I love it.
I have full confidence now.
Let's see. I need to debug this. Something is going on.
I have partial confidence. An API code. Why? What happened with that? What was that code?
Yeah, bring that back here. Don't be embarrassed by your errors. Bring it back.
I'm good.
No, he's not embarrassed.
Already registered.
Oh.
Oh, I'm an idiot.
Okay, so what do we got for keys? What? Can't we just use controls? Control this,
Oh.
control that, or what do we
No, I
got?
think this is user error. I think he's already
No,
got a
he's
hotkey.
ID. He used the same ID because he copy and pasted.
I
Ambiguous.
see.
He's being ambiguous. Let's go. Same error.
Still not the same error.
Yeah, it's probably because the hotkey itself might be actually.
Right. So is there a conflict
Can you
with any
hold on?
Yeah.
Hold
other
on.
thing?
Can you just make it Alt H and Alt this, like instead of making it Control Alt?
No. So what I was
Um,
thinking
let
was
me
that
just see
something
something.
already registered in the
Yeah.
Windows API that exact hotkey.
Yeah, so let me
Yes, that's
try
why
the
I'm.
group. Let
That's
me
why I'm
just
trying to say,
try.
can we just switch it up from being instead of being Control Alt to just being one or the other? Control.
Or maybe it was
Alt.
like you could even do like Control Shift Windows Alt.
Let me just Control Alt. Let me just try VKB, and that was what I tested in my test.
Okay. Yep. That's very safe. That's very safe.
I'm not sure that it's gonna work, but we have a few debugging steps which we can take
Oh
for this
man, we
particular
gotta get
error.
it.
Don't worry.
We got real memes like busting at the edge of a seat here, wanting to figure out what we're doing. Like, come on,
Oh,
get
that's
this
a
right.
typo.
Get this right, boys. Come on, do it right. Let's do it again, but better.
Okay, so
Here we go.
let's try Control Alt B. Oh,
Oh.
it said work in progress. More than two arranged windows. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I do indeed have more than two arranged windows. The Control B. It's still more than two
Yeah.
arranged windows. That is still correct. I have 3 monitors.
Yeah.
Control Alt B, and it switched windows. Let's go.
Did it?
Yeah, it did.
Did it?
Look.
On your other monitor. On your other
No,
monitor.
on the main monitor. So it's switching to the terminal from the Visual Studio. So see my
Oh,
cursor
right. It's the focus. That's the focus. Right. Okay.
Okay, do it.
And then
Does it do it? Will it currently do it
Oh
both
yeah.
ways,
All
or
right,
is it
now
one from
do it the other. No, it only does one way right now. We got to implement the other one
Okay.
now.
So does it go from
So-
left to right or right to left?
So
it goes
obviously
right to
B
left.
B
Right to left?
works.
Okay.
So now we need to go the
So-
other way.
Yeah. Hold on. So
Oh, there
it
we
goes
go.
right to
There
left,
we
you
go.
said?
There we go. There we go. Now we're doing it. Now we're doing it.
Okay.
Alt Shift
Okay.
Control or Control Alt Shift is the
Okay,
keybind.
let's try this once
The
again.
keybind. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's go.
Okay, so go here.
Come on.
Control Alt B to
Come
go right, and Control.
on.
Oh,
Nothing's
It's
happening.
not-
Control Alt Shift L. Control Alt Shift L, dude.
oh, it's Control Shift L. There we go. It does work. Control Alt B and Control and Shift L. There you go.
You can't tell. You can't tell
Okay,
by
so
listening
do me
to
a
you,
favor.
but my-
Do me a favor. Do me a
Let's
favor. Hold on. No. Okay, go back where you were because it was. Okay, well, whatever.
Yeah, sure. I'm just gonna open NeoVim on another terminal, and then it's gonna be very obvious.
It works, guys, and my
Okay,
serotonin
okay.
levels are through the fucking roof.
Okay, so do something on the on. Okay, so now you're on the right side. Now you're on the right side. Blah blah blah. Keybind. Jump to the left. Ooh, yes, he did it. Let's go.
I like the energy.
No mouse
Oh,
usage.
baby.
No mouse usage.
Baby.
No mouse.
Right, we have two people that were
Mom,
asking
no
us.
mouse.
We have two people that were talking to us. So the idea of this, guys, was we had a C++ expert, our buddy Prof, who was going to teach a couple of Java pros, myself and Hayden, a new trick. In my case, where I'm an old dog, this is a very new trick. I haven't touched C or C++ in a little over 10 to 12 years. This is this has been a very eye-opening experience, very fun. But the idea was we were building a simple Windows application that would allow us to keybind toggle between two open windows. It was a very simple project, very plain, but it took us a very long time because we had a hell of a lot of questions along the way. And honestly, this was a lot of fun.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Honestly, what we were learning, we were just kind of learning little bits and pieces about the language, about the syntax, about this, that, and the other thing. And our buddy Prof was giving us some good explanations about things. And this is all the that's all this podcast was initially about was being a big learning process. And I learned a few different things about C that I did not know. I also learned a few things that I thought I forgot because it's been quite a few years. And for me personally, this was pretty eye opening. Hayden, what about you? Did you what was your takeaway? How did you what do you feel about you learned?
Dude, first of all, it is like you said, it's very eye opening, right? Um, this is a totally different realm. I feel like I've been transported somewhere, if that makes sense. Some concepts are very familiar, um, but also even when I think that there was like this way of doing it, it's a totally different paradigm, and it's not wrong or right. I know that we criticize the language a lot, but it's genuinely beautiful. I think it has its place, and I think after this stream, I'm probably gonna mess around with it a little bit just to get a better feel for it.
Yeah, so people are
Yeah,
asking, is
I
the
had
stream
I had
gonna
a lot
end?
of
I'm
fun.
still gonna answer questions if there are
Uh,
questions in chat,
I
but
would
that's it.
love to do a Q&A. Well,
yeah,
or actually,
we're
you can do a Q&A.
we are basically at this point going to do basically a little bit of a Q&A because we did get what we wanted out of this. So like if you guys in the viewers, if you happen to have any questions about C++, if you happen to just shoot them in the chat and Prof will answer. If you got any questions about Java or the stream, by all means feel free. And if you guys enjoy this podcast, we Hayden and I do this every Sunday night at the same time. Make sure that you're subscribed to know when we go live with these podcasts every weekend. It's something that we're trying to do, and if you guys happen to if you happen to have a niche little spot that you're in, or a niche skill, if you want to be interviewed or challenged, or you want maybe you know a language that we don't, and you want to challenge us to learn it, by all means, reach out to me on Discord and get in touch. But let's open the floor
Hey
up to
guys,
a round table. Anybody have any questions? Let's go.
somebody teach us ASM. I want to learn assembly. Let's go. Let's go.
I'm gonna teach you ASM because I don't know it, and you probably know it less than the compiler does. But real memes. 8097 had a question. What do I want to do next with this? Nothing. It was a proof of concept for a sort of thing you can do
Yeah,
with C++.
Yeah,
he's
this
written
this
much more code for better projects.
this
He
was
is
just
teaching novices.
this was just a project to have fun and teach us, and it
Right.
was a really fun project. It was a really fun project.
If you want to see somebody actually taking this exact project to a completion, there is a other YouTuber called Neil Lichtman, who actually built a whole tiling window management. So
Um,
something like the Linux is tiling window manager, something like this. They call it Light WM.
Is he
And
also a YouTuber? Because I think I
yes,
might have seen this before.
he writes C though. So I wrote C++.
Right.
So he does it in the olden ways
okay,
of
hold on.
C.
I think we diverted from his question. Do you mean like what is the future of like what we're doing here as like a trio? Because if so, the idea is that Hayden and I co-host this podcast where we chat with real developers and we kind of dive into their world and kind of do some real talk. Um, this channel does real world projects kind of on a regular thing. Like I stream, right? I work on projects every weekend that I live stream. They're just real production projects, and I make videos throughout the week about about production code, production topics, and different things with Java. But as for the project that we did in this video, it was just a one-off project for specifically for this video, and I hope that answers your question, real memes.
Not one of.
The
I
reason
will
I'm not
like to say, I would love to do this again.
Oh,
I would love to do this
I would
again.
absolutely love to do it again. I would love to find people that do other videos as well, or like other languages and get taught other languages. Do we use AI? No,
Oh,
at least I don't.
No, that is. I do use AI. I'm a very big
Well,
proponent of AI. I will say, do not use AI to learn. If
wait,
um,
you,
wait.
I,
um,
We didn't ask ChatGPT to do this.
That's
Oh
right.
yes,
We
that's
did.
right. That's correct. Yes, yeah.
The program. You
All of all
implement
of all of the videos that I make on this channel are not made with AI. The only AI
That
that
is
gets
true.
the only AI that gets used in this channel is when I write CSS JavaScript because I am so rusty at it. I'll get Junie from my JetBrains to write me either CSS because I suck at it. I'll get it to write me JavaScript, and then I'll go over it and tweak it myself because I kind of obsess over some things. But like generally
Prof,
speaking, no, there's not much AI involved in what I do.
Prof, I see that you're critiquing yourself right now. So how does the code from ChatGPT um, pair in comparison to what you did? Because it does look
god
much
fucking
shorter.
awful. It's god awful.
Yours is awful or theirs is awful?
There's an awful. You have fixed window titles. It only switches between two fixed windows.
Oh, I see. Okay, so why don't you
Jeez.
try? Actually, no. This is
Mm.
another concept. We'll do AI in another video, I'm sure. So
You know
yeah,
what?
just
You know what I
avoid
would love
that.
to do? Just out of the sheer curiosity. I forget who gave me the idea. I think it was my buddy Thomas. Um, have have AI write somewhat of a like full scale program, but then sort of
Mhm.
dive into criticizing the hell out of the AI and give it a bit of a code roast.
Absolutely. Which is,
So
by the
that
way,
was
something we
roasted.
haven't done yet. We talked about our code roast and we never did our code roast yet.
No, which is another thing.
But
If anybody watching happens to have any sort of like embarrassing code or some like even just good code that you would like us to kind of review on a podcast like this, by all means, I would absolutely love to clone your repository, pull it up on the screen, and go through it. Myself, Hayden, maybe we'll bring in a third dev, maybe we'll bring you on stream if you're comfortable. If you happen to want to get involved, reach out.
Oh
and
no!
I see the sleep. I see the sleep. I do want to say, I how about we conclude? What do you guys say?
Mm, well,
Or is there any more questions?
I haven't seen any more questions, but the coffee is starting to run out, so I think this is a good point to call it quits for the evening. We've been at this for almost 3.5 hours. So, oh, how do you learn Java as a newbie? Um,
Another video.
Yeah, another video.
You're gonna have to
That's
follow up. You're gonna have to subscribe to the channel, and you're gonna have to wait until we tell you. Or right,
well, I do
just message
honestly,
us. I'm sure if you just message us.
to be honest, there is a basics Java series in my playlist where I have a couple of Java basic videos explaining the setups and stepping you through what a class is, what a package is, and things of that nature. So there is some videos on my channel if you want to check them out about some of the basic concepts of Java.
Also,
Uh,
Prof, thank you very much for that
hold
resource.
on, hold on.
Just put.
Got a question for Prof.
Mhm.
Has the C++ dev got any graphic library tips? Otherwise, I could honestly just do it in the Windows thing.
Yeah, so if you're looking for GUI apps, there is Qt, there is GTK. GTK is more on Linux, but technically it works on Windows, but not really. There is the Windows API itself. There you can learn from Microsoft, and Visual Studio actually has a lot of support for the Windows API. If you want more complicated graphics, you can directly interface with the graphics. What the? Not the gestational diabetes mellitus. No, the graphics model.
Oh my god!
Can you
No.
Google the standard library?
No, I'm not googling it.
No, it's GDI. It's GDI. Sorry, graphics device interface. Sorry, it's a type. Windows GDI to do.
We're not crossing that line. We're already X-rated. We're not getting canceled.
So Windows GDI, you can use Windows GDI. You can
Oh my
use
god.
OpenGL, Vulkan, any of that. However, fair warning, that is very difficult. because you need to basically babysit your GPU into doing exactly what you want it to do. So if you want something basically pre-cooked, then look at Qt or GTK. If you want something with medium flexibility and native to Windows, look at the Windows API. And if you want full control, look into OpenGL or Vulkan. And good luck with those two, because then you're not only managing CPU memory, you're also managing GPU memory. So you have double the segfault potential.
And there was an awkward pause. I think that is the conclusion of
Actually,
our
there was no
podcast.
pause. He was pretty wrapped up there.
Okay, good night. Good night.
Well, on that note, what do we got here? To land at a job. What should I learn in this era? I'm probably going to still say what I always say, which is Java and Spring Boot, because those seem to be some of the things that all of the big companies run on, and it depends on where you want to go. If you want to be in one of like the big FANG companies, I'm going to say Java and Spring Boot. If you're looking to do,
I'm gonna say
I'm
if you wanna
stimulated
get
again. I'm stimulated. I have a differing opinion than you, Mike.
I also have a different opinion.
let's hear it, boys. This is let's hear it. Round table. Let's go.
So my opinion is very short, so I'm gonna say it first. My opinion is if you want to get rich today, you should get very good at corruption.
What do you mean by that?
Oh,
like being corrupt.
You got corrupted individual.
Okay. Yeah, I gotcha. Okay, sure. You might go to jail, but it may or may not be worth it. Whatever. So my opinion is, if you want to learn Java, you need to learn something that encompasses all aspects of programming, right? So you should have some sort of project that has some sort of database. It has some sort of logic. It has some sort of front end. And a good project that incorporates everything is a video game, right? With a video game, you'll have some sort of interactable layer. You will have the logic behind the scenes that actually controls the video game, and you'll have some sort of database stuff to persist your data. Also, incorporate some networking, incorporate some AI, which is very new. Incorporate something like that. Like you should try to do as many things as possible. Within reason, right? You don't want to overwhelm yourself with multiple subjects at the same time. But if you are, let's say, I would say like an intermediate developer and you want to excel your skills, expand it to something that is more than just one thing. If you are a beginner developer, try to focus on one thing at a time.
I think that's very solid. Very solid advice.
It's very solid advice. It's so solid. It's not so uncontroversial that it's actually boring, but it's correct.
Yeah. Sorry that I'm boring, but
you're correct. Yeah, you're one of the rare people on the internet who are just correct.
I'd like to thank the two of you, real memes and Code Guy, for your time tonight. It's been a pleasure doing this stream. I absolutely love this. This was so much fun. I really
Thank you very much for having me, man.
I really hope that you guys had as much fun as we had, because we clearly had a barrel of monkeys. However, the coffee is out, so that's about it for us. We will catch you guys in the next one. Keep your curiosity open, your skills sharp, and that coffee cup full. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Good night.